welcome aboard. We have been on for a little bit. We just didn't have the video going on, but we did have the audio going on like we always do here on the program. And welcome aboard. I know those of you out there, as always, appreciate you chiming in, tuning in, logging on here on the program. As always, we appreciate that. We will take you till about, I want to say about 3 o'clock is, I'm hoping the voice will last till 3 o'clock, okay? Make sure you send in the accidentlawfirm.com text line. Send in a couple texts, a couple questions if you got any comments on 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105. 1105 if you want to get in on the program as we take you, of course, till about 3 o'clock. We got a loaded show. David Dwork is going to join us at the top of the hour. We'll talk a little Panthers. Panthers taking on the Wild tonight at 7 o'clock. It'll be interesting. The storyline with Bob now will be very interesting. So we'll talk to David about that. At 1 o'clock, it's our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report with, of course, Manny Navarro. We always do it every week with Manny at 1 o'clock here on Tuesdays. At 2 o'clock, Ryan Dunleavy is going to join us from the New York Post. We'll go over some NFL headlines with Ryan. We also, I forgot, at 12:30, after David, Andre Fernandez is going to stop by, Marlins writer with The Athletic. Marlins actually made a couple of claims yesterday to improve their team. Don't know if the big picture is really going to do much, actually, but whatever. They stepped up to the plate and I don't know, hit a seeing eye single. Okay, it wasn't like a rock solid single. It's just one of those seeing eye singles, that kind of stuff. That's what they did. So at 12:30, we will talk to Andre Fernandez, who covers the Marlins. At 2:30, Ben Ennis is going to join us from the Fan in Toronto. Raptors and the Heat tonight, so we'll get a little Raptors point of view from 590 The Fan. So we've got that going on. And, of course, if you're watching on YouTube, you can start your roll call on YouTube and send in your questions, your comments, all kinds of good stuff there on YouTube. We'll get to that in a few minutes. We'll get to your comments and all good stuff on YouTube. Our first segment, which you missed, it wasn't on video. It'll be on audio soon because Bill is already working on podcasting it. But it was talking a little bit about the people that are enamored with tanking, and it's just I find it funny. So it's something that you may you definitely want to hear, because the tankers have an agenda, and it's so obvious. And I see right through it. And so you definitely want to hear that segment, because the tankers are one group that is going to go two ways. And you'll see what I'm saying when you listen to that segment. And once again, thank you all for the downloads. Probably our best Sunday we've ever had. And then yesterday was another just monstrous day. Our downloads were up 30% from November to October. And I don't know what the percentage was from October to September, but it was probably somewhere in that neighborhood of 30% also. So it's been a hell of a climb every single month. And every month I am blown away by the response by all of you out there. So thank you so much. For supporting us here on the show. Anyway, if you want to get in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, it's 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the program. Heat and Raptors tonight at 7:30. We got the Wild and the Panthers at 7 o'clock. We had a little Monday Night Football action yesterday as the Seahawks beat the Vikings. Poor Kirk Cousins, man. That dude just doesn't have any luck, and things never go his way in primetime games. It's not like he played bad or anything yesterday, but he wasn't great either yesterday. And the Seahawks did enough to get the victory yesterday, 37 to 30. Sadly, Dalvin Cook left again with an injury yesterday. Looked like a shoulder injury is what they reported. Hopefully, he'll be all right. And there was a lot of the pregame stuff was surrounded around Dalvin, and he was happy on how he has responded, how his body has responded, and that he had been healthy. Because the last couple of years, obviously, he's had one health situation after another, and here comes the shoulder, and I felt bad for the kid because he looks like a good kid overall, and he's a hell of a player, and then to watch to watch him suffer that shoulder injury, just absolutely sucks. So hopefully he's all right, but hell of a win for the Seahawks. They improve to 10-2 on the season. Mini drops to 8-4 now on the year. The Dolphins yesterday signed Eric Rowe to a contract. 3 years, $18 million, and $7 million of it was guaranteed. This is a really good move overall. I'm not an Eric Rowe fan now because of, as a corner, watching him play, he's not a good corner. Just not. He's not consistent enough to be a corner. But coaching is about finding the strengths and the weaknesses of your players. So that way you know where to put them to succeed and keep them away from a position of failure, right? Eric Rowe, well, they found out that by him playing the tight ends, that he was a better guy for those kind of situations. And what he did is Zach Ertz this week, he limited Zach Ertz, and he's been doing that the last couple of weeks with tight ends. And they found a place where he excels. And I got to tell you something, as a Dolphins fan, as a longtime Dolphins fan, I'm kind of tired of watching the tight end just absolutely pummel the Dolphins. And that is, I think, a very, very intelligent move. They didn't spend a lot of money. It's, $7 million of it is guaranteed out of 18 in a 3-year deal. So you're paying $6 million a year, which is really not a lot of money. And if he can actually do what he's done the last couple of weeks, next year, and maybe the year after, because a 3-year deal, I usually look at a 4-year deal like a 3-year deal. And a 3-year deal, I probably look at it like a 2-year deal. That's probably what it is. And that's really not a lot of money, and you're not really going to take a major cap hit or anything if you have to let him go. None of that. And he has a role that you have been able to define now, one that he excels in. And I think, one, that's coaching, okay? 2, it's savvy to sign him ahead of time and put him in a position where he doesn't really have a lot of leverage. So he's not going to be able to command a big deal. That's why you're able to get away with this. And at the same time, you are able to do something on your defense that you haven't been able to do in a long, long time. They don't know about that. Flores and company, they don't. Well, I'm sure Flores at least has a feeling of it because he watched his guy, although his guy's pretty good in Gronk, but he watched his guy year in and year out torch the Dolphins, right? And if you watch film, I'm sure you watched other tight ends kill the Miami Dolphins. That's actually been what's gone on forever here. So the acquisition of Eric Rowe for me is an awesome, awesome move by them because he fills that niche. And if he can do that, I'm good. I'm good. I find it to be a bargain. If he can cover tight ends week in and week out the way he has, that's all you're paying the guy? That's a steal. And good for Eric Rowe, too, personally, because he's floated around a little bit now. He wasn't really going to stick at corner. He was probably going to get cut at the end of the year if he wanted to stay at corner. and then somebody else, and then you're going to another team. So now you're bouncing to a third team now, I believe. This gives you an opportunity now to find yourself and your identity and who you are. And in life, isn't that what you're doing as a teenager and you're getting into a young adult? You go through that phase, and it's so frustrating for a lot of us when you're growing up and trying to figure out what you want to be and what you're going to like and all that good stuff and where you fit in, right? What's your skill set? What is it? Because we all have some kind of skill set, just got to figure out what it is. And Eric Rowe has not been able to figure that thing out because he has not excelled at corner on a consistent basis. And he was going to be a journeyman at that spot. Now you give him a position where he has excelled at, and now he has an identity, and he gets to play with confidence. And his play will get better. That's part of what's gone on with Devontae Parker. Okay? Devontae Parker was not as confident as he is now. That's coaching. That's the receivers coach. That's the guy that's the coach in the weight room. I don't know who his name is right now. But that's the guy, the trainer, that is working with Devontae on a consistent basis and giving him that positive input and pointing out the things that he's doing that are right and how to build on those kind of things. And then that's how you build on their confidence. And then they go out there and they have success. And they go out in success practice against their teammates. And then they start to build that confidence and they get a little bit of an edge. And all of a sudden, you start seeing Devontae Parker talk. You never saw that before. You never saw Devontae Parker get in somebody else's face. Devontae was quiet, unassuming, walks away, just does his thing. He doesn't talk to anybody. Doesn't talk in the locker room, doesn't talk on the field. Where do you think he's doing that now? Why do you think he is like going after the opponent? Did you watch him this week? He reminded those Eagle DBs, yo, I'm here all day, dude. Yo, you can't stop me. Underneath, over the top, I am going to burn you. Where do you think that comes from? Because that wasn't him ever. At no point did you ever see that Devontae Parker in a Dolphins uniform. That's a credit to the coaching staff. They worked on his psyche. They built up his confidence. He figured out his body. Combination, success. And this is what we're talking about here. This is what it's all about. To me, it just, when I look at the way they're doing things, it makes a lot of sense. And they're finding and defining roles. Hey, Vince Beagle, look, Kiko doesn't fit what we do. But that guy Vince in New Orleans can do some of the things that we need him to do. So they bring him, and he fits what they want to do. Kiko wants to, go out and ad-lib and do things on his own out there, and that's not the way it goes here. Everybody's got an assignment. Everybody's got a job. There's 11 guys on the field. There is no freelancing. Okay? Everybody's accounted for. That's the way they do it. And, by the way, that's the way Shula did it. That's the way a lot of great coaches do it. And now some people will allow their great players to freelance a little. Of course. There's nothing wrong with that. If Zach Thomas sees something, you think a coach is going to pick on him for that? It's Zach Thomas. It's Jason Taylor. It's whatever. You name it. Those kind of players, they get a hall pass for that. But those are few and far between. The guys that can do that kind of stuff. And the guys you allow to do that stuff, they're not going to allow you to do that here. So they find certain players that fit what they want to do. Vincent Taylor played well for the Dolphins, was a good draft pick. Didn't fit the new scheme. Now, the dude they replaced him with actually fits the scheme a lot better. And that's what it's all about. It's coaching. It's understanding what you have and then what you've got to do with it and say, okay, well, this guy fits what we're doing. This guy doesn't fit what we're doing. That becomes a problem. And now you have the guys that fit. And if there's a guy like Eric Rowe that all of a sudden he is doing something, a specific role for you and effectively, and you think, okay, you can project it for the next couple of years, sign him. You need somebody to cover tight ends. Lord knows that's a pain in the ass. And to me, that's what I love about what they're doing here. They're finding guys, they're defining them, and then they're placing them in certain spots. You're not going to have all the positions filled this year or next year. Maybe it's years 3 and 4 is where you start to really get to that point where you've plugged most of the holes. But right now, at least you're finding certain guys that are going to fill needs that you don't have to worry about next year. Taco Charlton will be in your defensive end rotation. Will he start next year? Probably not. Maybe because, you know what, now I'm thinking if you draft young guys, Taco might be in front of him for a short time. But he'll be part of that rotation. Harris will not. So while you lose your draft pick, you gained another guy that's going to help you in that area in Taco Charlton. 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the program. And, of course, it's all brought to you by Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines, the finest dealership in the business, baby. Right now, the lease features 2019, the ILX is $199, the TLX $259, the RDX $329, the MDX $369. I've been telling you about them for over 9 years now. That's why I want you to get on down to 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 in Pines. Hey, tell them that Big O sent you. You're going to love that sales staff. That service center is second to none. And tell them that Big O sent you. Trust me, they will take care of you at Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Yes, it is. Good morning. For those of you chiming in here on the YouTube chat board, let's see what we got here. George says, good morning, guys. You must check out Omar Kelly with Joe Rose. Got a little heated this morning. I would imagine Omar was saying something crazy. Hey, did you hear the press conference yesterday? It was the best one yet of the year. Must listen. What press conference are we talking about? You got to tell me what press conference, Alex. Michael says, morning, did you get a chance to listen to Joe and Omar this morning? No, I did not. Good day with the extension of Rowe. Safety for 3 years at $18 million. Has the time for Rashad come to an end? Oh, a long time ago. Rashad should have been cut 2 years ago, dude. Rashad, they've hung on to him way too long. He can't cover. He's overpaid. Great guy, been a hell of a player for the Dolphins for a long time, but it's time. They're going to let him go, no doubt. Let's see what else. John says, my nightmare is coming true. Fitzpatrick is winning our way out of a franchise QB. John, I think you saw the guy yesterday in Seattle. He's a third rounder, and he was playing against a fourth rounder. How do you know that the guy at the top of the draft is going to be the guy? You sure? Because Drew Brees got picked in the second round. Aaron Rodgers got picked at the end of the first round. Tom Brady's in the sixth round. The Jaguars, who are a bunch of idiots for giving Nick Foles $400 million guaranteed. I know it's like 80, whatever. They're going back to Gardner Minshew, their fifth-round pick or some whatever it is that Gardner was.
My Bears picking Trubisky. The next two guys are
go.
Watson and Holmes.
And how's Baker Mayfield doing in his second year? It's, again, you go back and listen to the segment I did on David Blau last week. It was on Friday, actually, because David Blau is a kid that I saw at the East West Shrine. And I told you guys last year when I saw him, I said, I don't know if this guy will ever be a starter, but he's got accuracy. Doesn't have this great arm, but he's got accuracy. And he was actually serviceable for the Lions on Thursday. You don't know where you're going to get a quarterback. You got to, again, it goes back to my opening segment, talking about these people that are fascinated with tanking. Whether somebody's tanking or not, I'm not exactly sure what it's going to do for your life. But those of you out there that are fascinated with this whole thing that I can only get a quarterback at the top of the draft, no, that's just not true. I like what I see from Joe Burrow too, but it is a gamble, only a one-year wonder. And I don't want Tua anyway at the top of the draft. He's too injury prone. Hell of a passer, deadly accurate, but his body is fragile as hell. I think that hip will dislocate again. I think he'll have other injuries besides the hip because that's what I've seen from him. 4 surgeries in 2 years at a lower level of football where they don't hit as hard as they do in the NFL and the seasons aren't as long. No way, dude. You want to take a chance on him with that third pick in the first round if he's still there in the 20s? Go ahead. But this whole thing, oh my God, if we don't have the first pick, we're not going to get our quarterback. I'm not worried about that. I want to see if you got a coach, and right now it looks like you're developing a pretty damn good coach. Next year will be the nail on the coffin. Next year we will find out if Flores is the real deal. Okay? But for now, I love what I'm seeing. And maybe they work with another quarterback. I don't know. I'm not worried about that right now. I'll have fun in the draft one way or the other. As long as they pick good players and as long as they develop a culture and they start winning and creating that environment, then people are going to want to come here. So you're going to have even quarterbacks lined up because their agents are going to want to come here. And remember, we're coming to the end of the Patriot run finally. It really is coming to an end. in the next couple of years. By the time Miami is good, Brady's retired, it's over. And the door will be open, the opportunity will be there, and people will want to come here because it's Miami. It's South Florida. And if you create a winning environment in South Florida, like the Heat have, people want to be a part of your organization. That's all. So I'm not worried about everything will work out. If you develop a good organization with a great culture and you're drafting well, you will get your quarterback in the draft. You will get him in free agency. You will find him. That's Chris Grier's job. And if you think your only option is that first few picks in the first round, then you're really not looking at the landscape of the NFL. I mean, let me see. Just look at. Let me just pull up here the standings. Okay. Buffalo's got a top 10 quarterback, right? New England doesn't. The Jets do. Baltimore doesn't have a top 10 quarterback. He's 32nd, right? Cincinnati has been playing with a second-round quarterback forever, and they got second-round results. Cleveland's got a top pick. Pittsburgh, their original quarterback, is a top 10. He's number 8 overall. Houston, outside of the top 10, number 12. Indy, I don't know where Brissett was, but he's a mid-round pick. Jacksonville, they're playing with a fifth-round pick, and then they traded for a backup. That's a fourth-rounder. I'm pretty sure Foles was a fourth-rounder, I believe. Tennessee's playing with they had a high pick, and he was a bust in Mariota. Now they've got Tannehill, and they're falling for it. It's awesome. Denver, they just gave Drew Lock a start, so they're kind of in flux, but he's not a top 10 pick either. Kansas City, I think he's at 10. I think that's where Mahomes was picked, number 10. Rams, second-round pick. I'm sorry, Rams, second overall pick. Oakland, second-round pick. Dallas, fourth-round pick. Giants, top 10. Not that he's good, but top 10. Philadelphia, top 10. Declining a little bit. Washington, I think he was like 13 or 15 or something overall. Hasn't been impressive. Overall. Chicago, number 2 overall, not impressive. Detroit, they've been playing with a first. I don't know where Stafford was picked, but I'm pretty sure it's top 10. I don't remember the exact number now, but I want to say it was like 5, 6, or 7 or something like that. Green Bay, second-round pick, right? Or no, late first round is Rodgers. Minnesota, fourth-round pick. Atlanta, number 1 overall pick in the draft. Number 2, I'm sorry. Long was number 1. He was number 2, right? Or was it the other way around? What was it? Yeah, Miami was 1, right? Yeah. Carolina, they're playing with like a 4th or 5th round pick. Now, Cam was a high pick. New Orleans, second-round pick. Tampa, that first-round pick has now worked out for them. Arizona, I don't know how you look at the kid yet. The jury's out, but he's the number 1 overall pick. The Rams. Oh, actually, I said Chargers on the AFC side. I should have said Rams. And he is a top 5. And the Rams the same. San Fran's a second rounder, and Seattle's a third rounder. So you have some top picks, but a lot of them aren't great. Goff doesn't look like the pick that you really wanted overall at the top pick, right? Sam Darnold still turns over the ball like crazy. Not necessarily a shoo-in. Trubisky is a disaster. Baker Mayfield, a turnover machine. Let me see. I'm trying to look at some of these other guys. Buffalo, Josh Allen's gotten better, but he's still, still not there yet as a passer. He can run, but I don't buy him as a passer.
He is what he is.
Yeah,
he's a runner first.
Wentz started off well, but I don't know what's happened to him lately. I don't know if the injuries have taken a toll on him. None of it is guaranteed. So to be in love with this whole thing and say, oh, yeah, no, we've got to have the top pick. No, if you're a good front office, you'll find a way to get a quarterback, and you'll develop one, and you'll get them all throughout the draft. because they slide all the time. I'm not one of those people that is going to get all hung up on all of this at the draft position. I just don't think it's something you should drive yourself crazy with.
The way it appears, more times than not, if you got your quarterback in the top 5, 6, let's say, you don't hit. You miss.
Yeah, you miss a lot.
You miss.
Yeah, you miss a lot.
Bottom line.
Yeah.
Most of the guys you've mentioned, it's like pick number 7, 8 through the first round.
If you know how to draft, you'll find them wherever. At the beginning of the draft, in the middle of the draft, and the back end of the draft. Big O, Jerry Jones just said on a radio show that Jason Garrett is the right guy for the job and he will be the head coach in this league. Is that a knock on future ECP of African descent? No, that's not. That's just Jerry Jones being stupid and wanting his puppet in place. That's all. And he's got to say that now. He may have a completely different opinion at the end of the year. At this moment, he cannot sound like he's given up on Jason Garrett when there is a certain amount of games left. So right now, I wouldn't believe anything that Jerry Jones is saying. But if he keeps him, he's keeping him because he needs to keep the parrot in place. That's all it is. Don't look too much into it, Patricia. Let's see. Go Gator says Rose and Omar went at it. Okay. All right, good. Big O, I know Omar is a good friend of yours, and you might not answer my question, but why is he so mad at the Dolphins organization? Why is he always trashing the Dolphins? Dude, that's his opinion. I mean, what can I tell you? Everybody has a different opinion. That's how it is. When I would slam the Dolphins, people would be freaking out about it. It's the way it is. People get all, hot and bothered about this stuff, and they take it personal. Let's see. Big O, Joe is on the Dolphins payroll, so he gets upset every time you say facts about the Dolphins. Nah, it's all right. Joe's fine. Yeah, he's on the Dolphin payroll, but at least every once in a while he'll call it like it is. He can't do anything with the coaches when they come on. He has to lob softballs, but that's just part of the game. But when you work for the team and you're on the team radio station, you're not going to get objective coverage. That's just the way it is, ladies and gentlemen. That's all. So you
can't hammer the product that pays the bills.
Right. Right. Exactly. Right. Steelers pick at the bottom of the round every draft. They do pretty well. Exactly. So did Shula. You know what I'm saying? Shula picked at the bottom of the draft every year too. And somehow or another did just fine. He figured it out one way or another. And the Patriots also pick at the back end of the draft every year, and they're surviving. Okay? Seattle has never really been bad overall while Russell Wilson is there, and they've been able to rebuild the team with him there. Okay? Baltimore Ravens are usually not bad, and they've been able to rebuild their team all throughout. I've been telling you for 20 years. It's not who you pick. It's not where you pick. It's who you pick. Okay? That's been my saying forever. You can't be all hung up on your draft position. What you got to do is have the people that actually know how to draft. That's all. You have those people in place, you'll be fine. If you don't have those people in place, you'll be the Dolphins the last 20 years. That's all.
We are up on a break, sir.
All right. We are up on a break. It's a beautiful thing. Friday, by the way, we will be at Hialeah Park, as always, broadcasting live starting off at noon. So come on out and join us there at Hialeah Park. We do want to remind you that our program is brought to you by Choice Mortgage Bank, because nobody outworks Michael Kodsey, man. They can get you into a fixed mortgage rate under 3.5%. support our phenomenal sponsors, and you are going to love it because Michael Kodsey, I mean, I get it all the time from our listeners over the last 9 years that have called Michael Kodsey and then have gone through the process. They reach back to me and they say, oh, thank you for giving me Michael's number. He changed our lives. Our bills are less now. Our payments are less. We have more money now at the end of the month for other things like vacations and things like that. Call Michael Kodsey. We can get you into a fixed mortgage rate under 3.5%. 561-441-2730.
Plus tax, tech title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit. Offers end 11/10/19.
Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used.
50% less.
A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Welcome back. We take you, of course, about 3 o'clock. Got a loaded program for you today. Panthers are back in action tonight. They're looking to get wild against Minnesota. David Dwork, by the way, my boy, does an excellent job of covering the Panthers on a daily basis for WPLG Channel 10. And you can follow David on Twitter like I and so many others do at David Dwork. You can also catch the podcast, Chirping the Cats, too. That's the other one that you can catch. Let's bring David aboard. David, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing great, Orlando. How are you, my friend?
I cannot complain, my brother. Are they calling you or are they calling me? What is that? Okay. Anyway, so, all right, let's get into it. Tonight, they take on the Wild. First of all, let's go over Drieger the other night because the goalie that's been part of 700 AHL teams, and I think he was part of the IHL, the ECHL. I mean, every other hockey team and league that's ever existed in this country, I think Drieger's played for. But the 25-year-old had a really nice night the other night against the Predators with a 27 shutout performance. What about that, my man?
Yeah, it was awesome to see. I mean, you talk about the perseverance and what this kid's had to overcome just to get to this point. You got to feel for him, too, because he had like that little cup of coffee a few years ago with Ottawa where he got into 3 games, and you're like, okay, maybe the NHL career is going to start now. And then he spends 3 years back in the minors. And at that point, you're getting in your mid-20s. You have to start thinking, like, am I ever going to get another chance? And then suddenly he gets that chance, and what he did, 27 save shutout. He's getting another start tonight. And what I really liked about it, aside from the Drieger part of it, Big O, is how well the team played in front of him. Perhaps their best defensive game of the year. And you have to wonder, maybe being that they knew it was such a big deal for Drieger and the rookie goalie, it might have maybe gotten them to take it to that next gear a little bit. And I'm hoping that it's a bit of a springboard to continue that great defensive play, regardless of who's in goal. Just keep playing that great defensive game. And so we'll see. Tonight's another good chance for them to do that, because Minnesota is a team that plays a tight game. They're a very stingy team. They're not a very offensive-minded team. So Florida should be able to hopefully flex their defensive muscle again tonight.
So I think what David Dork from WPLG is telling you is that the team hates Bob and they like Drieger.
No, of course not.
All right, so Bob is in goal tonight, right, I would imagine?
No, Drieger's back in net tonight.
Wow, so this is like a flat-out benching.
No. It's not that at all. I think Quenneville he wanted to give Drieger the chance on Saturday.
The hot hand?
He did so well with it.
The hot hand
exactly.
thing?
It's the hot hand thing. Quenneville, he said yesterday, this isn't part of the plan, but we're just going to reward Drieger for his great game. And look, if he wins again tonight, start him again the next game. If he stays hot and the team keeps winning, that's fine, because you still have Bob, and Bob is your starting goalie. There's no arguing that. Nobody is going to make any mistakes. Bob is the starter. If he's chilling right now while Drieger has a hot streak, by all means, go on your hot streak, Drieger. At the end of the season, Big O, it's going to be Bob in net when the playoffs come, and that's just the way it's going to be. But for now, I'm good with Drieger and his hot streak. Like, hopefully it becomes a hot streak.
Okay.
Not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay, well, wait a minute, David. You're assuming everything goes smooth. You're assuming that Bob gets back to being Bob. But Bob has not been Bob, and this is why we're at where we're at right now, that they went and got a Drieger and brought him here, and they're starting him again. This is, to a certain extent, it's a benching, dude. You don't give somebody $70 million and not start them. You don't guarantee that kind of money and not put that guy between the pipes night in and night out. This has to be digging at Bob a little bit, I know he's got his money, but if he has any kind of professional pride, this is a hell of a shot to his ego, dude.
No doubt. Bob's not happy, and he's not happy with the way he's been playing. I don't think he's been particularly happy with some of the defensive effort in front of him the first part of the season. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to call this a benching, because I don't think this is a benching. I don't think that Bob has been demoted from his job or anything like that. I think he's definitely going to take it on the chin, because that's how he takes his game very seriously, and that he's struggling is certainly, under his skin. But I don't think it's anything more than just what it is in this moment. And yes, I am expecting, I don't want to say assuming, I am expecting that Bob will turn things around and be the goalie that he's been throughout his career, the one that they're paying him to be. And the slow start thing is something that's plagued him throughout his career as well. So that kind of plays into my expectation that he's going to round out into his usual form. But look,
but David, that slow start stuff, I read all your articles, not only yours, everybody else's. That was October. We're in December. The slow start now is October, November for him. And his history, it was October, and then he picks it up after that. He did not pick it up in the month of November, and now we're into December. So he is not. Remember, we have to hold him to a completely different standard than most goaltenders. He has set himself to be an elite goaltender. He has not played elite in the first 2 months of this season. Those are the facts, and that's why they're experimenting with Drieger now. And I got to tell you something. This organization shows me a lot of balls to be doing something like this. All right, and it shows you also how committed they are to winning, that even their $70 million goaltender, if he's not working, they'll try something else.
Well, I think that just comes down to the organization putting their faith in Q, because ultimately he's the guy that's making the decision of who goes out and plays goal every game. But, I mean, you're right. The time has come for Bob to turn that corner, and hopefully this, again, this sitting down while Drieger steps in, hopefully that acts as the wake-up call. That combined with the team playing a bit better defense now, that's another issue that should certainly improve, and we've seen it get better as they get better in Quenneville's system. There's a lot of reasons to believe that things will round into form, but I agree that it's got to start with Bob. If he's going to be that guy that's going to fulfill his contract and basically play to the way that he's, like you said, he put himself into that position. You're an elite goalie. The expectations are going to be different.
Yeah.
And, I'm very curious to see if when he gets back in there, and he certainly will, they're at home basically the entire month of December, if he can start looking like the goalie that he was at the end of last year.
Is there any chance that this guy got a little complacent because he's got a lot of guaranteed money? I mean, I know everything that you guys have told me. This guy's wired amazingly. You're a goalie yourself. You marvel at his preparation and how much of a fanatic he is at preparing, that he's there, the first guy on the ice and all that good stuff. But it has not translated. So I just wonder if is there any part where he could have lost a little bit of an edge?
Based on what I've seen, I just don't see how that could be, just for the amount of work he puts in on and off the ice. But I will say, this is the first year I've witnessed it firsthand. So if there's any chance that what I'm seeing is like a watered-down version of what he usually does, then I would probably be in shock to see what he would be doing otherwise, because he puts in so much work just from what I've seen. So I don't think it's anything that where he got the contract and he got complacent. I don't get that vibe at all from him. I think it's been just a issue of not playing at the level that he's expected to play at. And I really don't think it goes much further than that. I think it's just a matter of he's got to get his stuff together on the ice.
And we're talking with David Dwork, of course, from WPLG, Panthers writer. And David, one of the things that's the best, okay, and it doesn't even come close, hockey players are just the best human beings to cover day in and day out. And I say that because we watch what's going on with the Heat and how they have to deal with the petulant child that is named Dion Waiters. And Dion Waiters never in his life would walk onto the court after Tyler Heroes, put in 25 points or Kendrick Nunn and hug him and congratulate him. That's what happened the other night when Drieger won. Bob came over. He was one of the guys congratulating him. And hockey people are amazing because I remember when I covered the team, I could ask Beezer about a shutout, and I could ask him about giving up 4 goals, and it was the same dude every single time. And I got to give Bob a lot of love, but that's kind of the MO of hockey players. But I got to give him a lot of love for handling all of this classy, not handling it in a Dion way. And on Saturday, when he went over to Drieger, or was it Saturday? Yeah, it was Saturday.
Saturday.
When he congratulated Drieger, that took a lot of class and a lot of professionalism.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we're talking about how Bob is this, crazy consummate professional, he works so hard on and off the ice. That's a big part of being a hockey player. Is what you're talking about right now. Is that human element? And I was just kind of like exploring that whole thing when I was writing about Drieger's shutout. It's just hockey players are cut from a different cloth, however you want to put it. No other athletes are going to get teeth knocked out of their head or get their face slashed open and get it stitched up and then go right back out 2 minutes later and finish the game. It's not happening anywhere else. And he's talking
about Keith Yandel, folks. If you're not paying attention, he's talking about Keith Yandel, who lost about 9 chiclets and was out on the ice like 2 minutes later. I mean, that's just crazy, dude.
But even with Yandel doing it, it's almost expected. You see a guy get his face cut from a high stick and go off into the locker room. You know he will be back on the ice with however long it takes them to cut up and get him back out there. Like it's not even a question. Whereas like you watched the NFL game last night and you're sitting there staring at Dalvin Cook sitting on the bench just chilling there, and yeah, he's got a shoulder problem, but you don't know. You just don't see that in hockey, and I think that's just part of what makes these guys so awesome and so endearing and just so down to earth. There's got to be a bigger explanation that maybe some psychology majors could help out with, but if for whatever reason you covered every sport down here just like I have, Orlando, and you hit it right on the head that the hockey players are just different. Like you can talk to them about whatever the media people will let you talk to them about. They'll just sit there and chat with you about whatever.
Right. No, they're the best, dude. It's not even close. It's just they are just amazing human beings to cover in moments of celebration and adversity is where you really get. And you know what I love about hockey people that you don't get from the other sports too? You could tell a coach, come on, coach, admit that was a bad call on third down. And, bro, they will be like so freaking hard-headed. A manager in baseball, a football coach, a basketball coach. No, you're wrong. Hockey people, dude, hockey people take criticism better than anybody because they were already criticizing themselves about the same thing you wrote about or talked about before you wrote about it or talked about it. Because as long as you're right, they're good with it, bro. They're fine. I mean, I would tell Doug Sifu over the last couple of years, I go, dude, you need a goaltender. Well, we like Luongo. Well, he's not good enough. I would tell the owner that, okay? And he was cool with it. He knew that deep down inside, I wasn't wrong. Then, Luongo's a phenomenal dude and all that stuff, but, just not good enough at this point anymore. And that's what I do love about hockey people, that as long as you're right, they're not going to call you out for it.
No, I think it just kind of all goes back to just decent people from top to bottom, not just the players. Like the coaches can have the confidence that they can be honest and truthful and genuine and not have to worry about what's going to happen above them in the front office if they say the wrong thing, because everybody just knows it's a good, genuine sport. I'm having a hard time coming up with the right words because we keep going through it's basically the same thing, that it's just good people from top to bottom. And the players are awesome. The coaches are great. The front office. When you hear stories about, I don't know if you've seen what's been coming out lately about some of the coaches, what happened with Bill Peters and Mike Babcock getting fired, and it's just you're starting to hear these little tricklings of these bad stories, these negative stories, and it's just interesting how it's going to happen anywhere, but it's taken until now for these what you hope are, for the most part, isolated incidents to come to light, because there's so many just really good people just hanging out with the hockey guys, and they hear about stories like this, and it's just shocking for a coach to treat their player a certain way, and it's just great. I'm grateful that we have a guy like Hugh down here where we're not going to have to worry about that.
No doubt. David Dwork, of course, joining us from WPLG. David, how is the team handling this? I don't know. I guess controversy, or I know you don't want to call it a benching or there's got to be some uneasiness right now that the $70 million guy is not sitting there between the pipes.
I think you're a game or two away from that uneasiness that you're talking about. Right now, they're still kind of in the honeymoon phase of Driedger's first start, his shutout, his win, and it's just kind of cheery and happy and about that. But if this is, we're talking about the same thing in 5 to 7 days, that's where I think the feeling that you're describing will start, peering its way around the locker room. And, whether or not it becomes an issue, I couldn't tell you because we haven't had to ask the players about it. It hasn't been something that's come up yet. And I certainly don't want to assume what anybody's going to react. But it will be something that will have to be discussed if Driedger, if he gets another couple wins. And, then you have a controversy simply because he's going to keep playing.
How has Montembeault handled the demotion?
From what I've seen, he's just kind of steadying along. I think he's played 2 games since he's gone down there. He gave up 3 goals both times, won 1, lost 1. But But Montembeault, he was always like such a super positive and fun guy. Like I love chatting with him in the locker room. So I imagine that he's kind of taken it in stride just based on my interactions with him. He never really seemed like a goalie that would get down on himself for much. Even watching him play, like he's never slamming his stick on the ice or, kind of giving dirty looks after giving up goals. So I imagine he's probably handling it well. And I would expect that he'd be up here again. He's a very good young goaltender. He's just got to – it's a tough thing when you go from playing, 40, 50 games a year to suddenly playing once or twice a month. And, some guys handle it differently. It doesn't say anything about his physical ability. I think it's more of just the mental thing.
Was that what this is more about getting him more playing time so he's sharp? Is that what it is?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what Quenneville said, and that's basically, it just makes sense that that's what they would want it to be. That was the concern with having Montembeault be the backup this year. Wasn't necessarily is he good enough to do it, is he going to handle that position? It's not easy being a backup goalie because, like I said, you're used to playing so much, and it's not just in the games either. Like in practice, they have certain drills where they'll cut the ice in half and there's only one goalie being used, and the other guys are kind of standing around because obviously the starter is going to get, the better reps, just like you see in any other sport.
Yeah.
So it's a whole well-rounded experience, and I just think that when they saw him struggling, and you could see that it was a mental thing, because look at the games that he played where the Rangers game where he gave up, I think, 4 goals or 5 goals in the second period, and then came back and looked like a completely different goalie in the third period and overtime. And that it's not a skill thing. The skill is obviously there. So, but yeah, I would think that Montembeault is going to start probably 2 out of every 3 games down there at least, and just kind of get his mojo back.
Strawman the other night has 2 goals, and what I got to tell you something, David. One of the things that I've loved about this season, it's Achari, it's Connolly, it's Barkov, it's Trocheck. It's not one dude or 2 dudes or 3 dudes that you count on, and it's the entire lineup contributes in the scoring. It's been pretty impressive overall.
Yeah, it's interesting. The first 3 players you mentioned, the Strawman, Achari, and Connolly, are all 3 of the lesser highlighted signings from the start. There was the Bob
right.
And there was Hugh, but look at how well-rounded this roster is now. Look at how this lineup, top to bottom. Quenneville can just roll his lines out there. Talked about Achari, and that fourth line with Toninato and Sevier has been just, for the most part, they've been great this year, especially defensively. So it's nice that they've got that kind of depth, because obviously at the top, when you can score the way that they can score with Barkov and Huberdeau and Hoffman and all these guys that are just putting up crazy goals and scoring all these points now, you can really appreciate that they don't have to play those guys 25, 30 minutes, that they can just roll the lineup and keep everybody nice and fresh.
Dude, the other night, Q is using the 4th line against their number 1 constantly. And what does that say about that Achari line, right? I mean, that's amazing, dude.
Yeah, that's been kind of the way they've been used all season, is he's put that line out there against whatever the opposing team's top line, whether it's an Austin Matthews line or a Steven Stamkos line, whatever their top line is, he's putting that 4th line, that of Noah Achari, Colton Sevier, and at the moment Dominic Toninato, who's actually older than the guy who was previous there, in Dryden Hunt. And they're just going out there, and for the most part, they're playing amazing against these highly skilled offensive lines. And it all just kind of ties into what I was just saying, that Q is able to keep everybody fresh and keep the minutes, for the most part, 5-on-5 very even. And for Barkov, it's big, because last season you were seeing games with Barkov playing so many minutes towards the end of the year.
Yes.
You just don't want to burn a guy out, especially this year when you're planning on, at that time, being on a playoff run instead of winding things down.
I'm with you. Let's wrap it up with this, David. Give us a preview of what we're going to see tonight against the Wild. What do you expect?
I expect a pretty tight checking, for lack of a better term, boring kind of night, because Florida's definitely they want to play defense first. Minnesota's a very tight checking, stingy team, and I would expect Florida's offense to show up a bit more than anything else tonight. But coming off of the game they played against Nashville on Saturday, as well as they played defensively there, and then to have a couple of days off ahead of tonight's game, they should be good to go. And I would expect maybe, like a 3-1, 4-1, type of game, assuming all goes to plan. I hate to make predictions like that, but I would expect the tighter Minnesota not to get much tonight on Drieger, and for Florida to be able to get their cookie.
That'll be amazing, and that'll create more controversy if Drieger kicks ass tonight. Oh,
well,
Lordy!
Either way, Big O.
Oh, Lordy!
Back this weekend. So
stir it up, David. Stir it up. Stir it up on those articles. Stir it up. Follow him on Twitter at David Dwork, man. Catch his work and tell him about the podcast, baby. Chirping the Cats.
Chirping the Cats has been awesome so far this year. I've had a lot of cool former players. I've got the next one is going to have Jonathan Huberdeau on it. That's going to drop probably after the weekend. So it's been great, man. And I'm going to start answering questions as well. So if anybody has questions to answer on the podcast, send them to me on Twitter, or you can email at chirpingthecats@gmail.com. Just send them in, man. I want to start interacting with all the fans.
Hoobie-doobie-doo. There you go. All right, David, enjoy the game tonight, my brother. We'll be watching. You be good.
All right, Big O. Take care.
Thank you, my brother. There you go. Appreciate you helping us out on a day where the voice is hurting today.
I was going to say, you're going to need a couple extra minutes because we do have Andre Fernandez coming.
Yes.
Why don't you go gargle with some salt water, sir?
Hey, let's do this. At the bottom of the hour, we're going to talk to Andre Fernandez. The Marlins made two acquisitions yesterday. Yeah, I got to take a quick break here so I can kind of regain my voice a little bit here. I don't know why I know why I'm losing it, but anyway, we got a bunch of guests still to go. Andre Fernandez is going to join us here at 12:30. At 1 o'clock, we'll have our Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes report with Manny Navarro. Ryan Dunleavy from the New York Post will join us at 2 o'clock. We'll go around the NFL. Ben Ennis at 2:30 from the Fan in Toronto. The Heat taking on the Raptors. Is there any radio show locally that's going to give you a preview of the Panthers?
If I had to
venture. Then a Heat preview, and then we talk Dolphins thoroughly. Then we go around the NFL, and then we're also going to talk Marlins, cover everything. Does anybody do that locally?
That would be a huge, ginormous no.
No. You get your whole sports fix right here. Back with more.
This is the Big O Show.
Plus tax, tech title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit. Offers end 11/10/19.
Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 50% less. A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodzie now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodzie can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
Yes, it is. All right, we are back. We are ready to go. We're going to do our best here. Voice sounds a little better, right? I just did a little magic.
And that's salt gargle.
Forgot the name of it, but I did some kind of a thing to boost your immune system. And then those chewables. What are those things called?
Coldies or something along those.
It's not Coldies, but it's one of those. But
Emergency is another one.
Well, it's the powdered thing, but I got it powdered. And so I mixed that up, and then I went and I gargled a little salt water. So I did my best to see if I can get it done, and we're going to talk to Andre Fernandez now, who gets it done all the time for The Athletic, MIA, covering the Miami Marlins. I follow him. You should too. At Fernandez Andre C. and catch his work at The Athletic. Andre, how you doing, my man?
Hey, what's up, Big O? How you doing?
I am loving life, sir. Can't complain. The Marlins have sucked the life out of me when it comes to baseball. But yesterday they made a little bit of headlines there, acquiring two players. One, Jesus Aguilar. The other one, Jonathan Villar. Talk to us a little bit about those acquisitions.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was good to see that because, as we talked about before, we were wondering how much of a push this team would make in the off season as far as financially, trying to breathe some life into this lineup. And, Villar especially is the one that I'm excited about because he's from the Orioles, the worst of the worst teams, last year, even worse than the Marlins. And he stole 40 bases. He hit 24 home runs. This is a guy who can hit consistently. And more importantly, he could play pretty much every position in the infield, which is something that creates a lot of flexibility for their roster in terms of, like, now he could play third base if needed. If you feel like Brian Anderson is best fit in right field, he could also play some middle infield. He could help out while their second baseman, Isan Diaz, continues to develop. So it's a recognizable name in baseball that people saw that did well in spite of being on a bad team, especially, which is another thing that caught my attention. Here's a guy that put up those numbers on the worst team in baseball last year. So, and it's a 1-year deal as well. It's a 10. They're going to spend probably likely near $11 million to keep this guy for one season. You could see it's a free agent signing that's better than getting guys that maybe at the end of their careers like they did last year, even though they were good for the clubhouse, but this is the guy who could produce better. And Aguilar at first base, I mean, that's a need spot right now for them. It's a guy who, he struggled last year, was hurt, but if he's healthy, if he can produce, it's a home run hitter that adds some pop that's much needed to that lineup, that can also be play a key role in balancing that lineup as well, giving Mattingly more options to play with day in and day out.
So, and Andre Fernandez, of course, Marlins beat writer for The Athletic, joining us. Is there any chance that there'll be players in free agency now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what the biggest thing last night was seeing that what they did with their infield. I think now you can kind of focus on the big names in the outfield. I mean, Nick Castellanos, the local kid from Archbishop McCarthy, he's going to be the top name free agent. Obviously, he's going to command a lot of money. Especially. Scott Boras is going to want a big contract for this kid after what he did with the Cubs at the end of last season. He's another solid hitter, hit about 289 last year, 16 home runs down the stretch for the Cubs. And, his defense has been a little shaky, but it seems like it's a bit on the upswing. It's still a young guy. He's going to be 28 on opening day. I mean, that's the ambitious one that would really open people's eyes if the Marlins could land someone like that, because, he's probably going to be another guy that with a contract around $15, $16 million a year, something like that. But there's others. I mean, the one I don't think is likely is a reunion with Ozuna. He's probably going to cost all the money too. It doesn't sound like he would be one that they would sign, but there's other guys like, Avisail Garcia, who was with the Rays last year, could come in for a little less money, play in the corner outfield. Corey Dickerson's another name that's been thrown around that I think is a good fit for them. But mainly, I think to just bring it on the perspective, I think the fact that they're spending, they're trying to not block the path of some of these prospects, but at the same time not say, hey, we're not going to do anything in 2020 until the guys are ready. Let's make this look better. Let's add some offense. Let's get some wins. Let's start to put this really in a way where you could see the rebuild starting to work, and at the same time buy time for those guys that we're really expecting a lot from, to come up to get their feet wet in the majors next year, and then really be ready to make a push in 21 and 22.
Andre, is this a come to Jesus for them because of what's happened the last 2 years, or was this part of the plan? Because we really haven't heard anything about them spending anything. Now, what you're telling me, they're willing to spend some money now. That's kind of seems like a change, but you're around the team. You tell me.
I mean, I think they'll tell you that it is, but I think at the same time, I think last year was really, seeing how far they fell. I mean, they expected the team not obviously to still struggle because they're still so young and devoid of talent, but I think they're feeling the pressure. I really think they're feeling the pressure to start winning, even if they're not a championship contender yet, even if they're not a playoff contender yet, but they can't go out there and lose over 100 games again. Look at the stadium. They hope to have a big, they hope to have a push in attendance, even if it was a small push last year, and ended up having the same thing they had the year before. I think they've realized they have to really make an investment both ways to kind of balance this out. They want to do it, building it from the ground up, and they've been able to start doing that with the prospects. But you have to put at least a respectable product on the field, in terms of major league talent, to see if you can get some wins. Because again, like I said, they can't go through another 100-loss season. Even if they feel like they're progressing in the rebuild.
Do they realize also that they had no competition for the summer? Well, it's starting now. This summer they will have competition, and they have maybe a maniacal, crazy, driven owner that wants to succeed in Jorge Mas, and he got dissed in baseball. He's going to want to bury that baseball team in the headlines, and Inter Miami's going to want to dominate those headlines, and if they spend, there's a good chance that they will dominate those headlines. Do they realize that?
I mean, I don't think they'll publicly acknowledge that, but I think, knowing from a fan's point of view, I think it's something that they have to realize. They're in this town where, you're right, the soccer team is getting ready to go. The Heat's doing better. You're seeing what the Dolphins are doing. They seem like they'll be back in the mix sooner than later, if this keeps going the way it's going.
Panthers?
So they have to do something. The Panthers are doing well as well. They have to continue. They have to put themselves somehow, try to crack into this, into this realm now where they exist. Where it's not just a pack of the really faithful fans that that are few and far between, but really be in the conscious mind of this as a sports town. And I think that this is one way that they could start to take a step toward that this coming season, if they can at least put some wins out there, create some excitement.
I mean, listen, this is one of the reasons why I brought you on today, because I go, hey, let's get Andre on. Let's talk about this, because it stirred me up a little bit that, all right, now you're willing to do something, dude, at least. I like that, at least, that you're willing to do. And now you're telling me they might be willing to spend some money here in free agency. I could start to get excited about the Marlins. I could start to get a little pumped up about it, because I need to know look, the Panthers, you can say whatever you want about the Panthers. I know they're freaking committed, dude. I mean, they have spent money. They've spent money on a core. Now they brought a Hall of Fame coach. Now they brought a kick-ass goaltender who's not playing that way, but still, they spent the money. You have shown me you're committed. Now, at least, hopefully things work out. We can be patient, whatever. But the Marlins, they have not shown me anything whatsoever. This is now at least some kind of a sign that maybe they do want to make a commitment to winning.
Yeah, and I think last night was a small step. I mean, the funny thing is that financially they're actually better off payroll-wise doing what they did last night than if they would have kept anybody that left in free agency. They finally got rid of Wei and Chen, who they still have to pay the $22 million, but at least that chapter's soon to be closed, pretty much. So I mean, but I think I'm curious to see if they can land a Castellanos, or if they do go after guys like that, even if it's now in the short term, but to create that kind of a stir, to create a little bit of they've done it on the coaching side. They bring in the guy from the Twins, James Rouson, the guy that helped them hit 300 home runs last year. And that's all fine from a baseball sense. But I think also the balancing of this part of it too, to get the fans to really care and to believe that they're invested in the long term is important as well. So, if last night was the first step, that would be a positive sign for them. But I think they have to keep it going now into the next couple months leading into spring training.
What else is next? What else are you hearing?
Yeah, I mean, they're heading to San Diego next week for the winter meetings, and I think I just keep hearing that they're open to they're not restricting the pocketbook as much as you'd think. I mean, I don't think they're going to go crazy, but at the same time, I don't think they're going to be stingy either if an opportunity presents itself. I mean, to me, I want to see if, like I said before, I want to see if they land that type of a free agent, or if they continue to kind of make these mid-level deals. I mean, there's guys that fit, and I know for a fact, like in the baseball sense, they would be good fits. But I'm kind of curious to see if they're a serious consideration. Like let's say a Castellanos, you hear 4 or 5 teams that are realistic contenders. Are the Marlins mentioned among them? Are they at that sort of level now where a free agent would consider, coming to Miami, even if it's not a hometown guy, would consider coming and playing for this team and being a part of its future?
Were you surprised they kept Mattingly around, or do you think they're keeping him around because it's a young team and you're still in that stepping stone until you get to that point that you might be a more of a contender type?
I mean, that part of it, I think, didn't surprise me. I think that's exactly where it is. I think he's a good guy to have around now, is when you're still kind of trying to bridge toward the time when you're going to be ready to truly contend. And I think he fits well, with the young players. He's a good presence there for them in the clubhouse. And I think that's when you may see, maybe in a year, 2 years from now, well, 2 years is the contract, but say 2 years from now, if they're ready, will they at that point switch to a bigger name manager, maybe even transition to someone that's already there on staff that hasn't been a manager before, that by that point will be more familiar with the roster, has worked with those young guys, developed those young guys, and could be ready to take over. But that's why I wasn't surprised that it was like a short-term extension for now to kind of keep the continuity together as the team goes forward.
Is there a young guy or two that might get called up this year that you're excited to see, that we as Marlins fans should be looking forward to?
I mean, I love the pitcher, man, Sixto Sanchez. That's the name that keeps popping up. I mean, I don't think it's going to be there on opening day, but I think soon after, I wouldn't be surprised if the middle of the season, maybe early summer, they give this kid a shot. The comp is always Pedro Martinez. The big fastball, the deceptive secondary pitches. I mean, the kid is fun to watch on the mound. I mean, that's definitely one right there. And then let's see how this outfield pans out, because it's been, musical chairs in the outfield since they got rid of the big three. So I'm curious to see if like a Jesus Sanchez or Monte Harrison or one of these guys comes in and can actually, start swinging the bat and hit a few out of Marlins Park and really earn a spot.
What are you working on in the Athletics so Marlins fans can check you out, my brother?
Kind of exactly that, what we're talking about. I'm going to take a look about not just about where Villar and Aguilar kind of fit into the 2020 plans, but speculating if they were to get a Castellanos, if they were to get an Avisai Garcia, kind of project the 2020 look of the Marlins coming up. That's the next project I've got going.
There you go. Follow him on Twitter at Fernandez Andre C. And, of course, catch his work at The Athletic MIA. Andre, as always, you are a stud, my brother. Tell the Marlins to spend. To open up that checkbook.
I'll do my best.
All right, baby. You be good.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. You too.
You got it, man. There you go. Andre Fernandez. That's what they need, more players like Andre. If they had the Andre Fernandezes of the world on the diamond, they'd be winning World Series left and right. He's a stud. Nice job by you, Andre. Thank you, sir. It's a beautiful thing. I
have not seen you get this excited about the Marlins, and I couldn't tell you when.
They kill me, bro.
Years.
They kill me, bro. I don't play fantasy baseball because of them anymore.
Is that the reason?
Yeah, because
back in the day, we were all excited about fantasy baseball because it was every day you were chiming in.
Right. And I stopped playing because I've lost interest in baseball so much because my local team there's
Yeah.
not a dog in the race.
They're non-existent.
And it's like, okay, so what am I going to do?
Since the opening of the new stadium, I've been to one game.
Been to
when
3.
we first got the Marlins,
Like
I was
3, I
there
think.
opening day. I was there the next night for
Yeah.
opening night, the very first time we played
Yeah.
every team. And we got this new nice stadium. It's amazing just to walk around the place with
awesome.
the way the structure is and everything.
No, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful
it's
stadium.
awesome. It is awesome.
It's a great
if you're
stadium.
into architecture, it's incredible.
No, it's a great stadium. It's
But-
a great stadium.
but-
it was a crappy owner.
The product on the field, it's hard to get excited, man. I'm more excited about all the bobbleheads and the little glass encasing out on the walkway than you are about the team.
Yeah. Or go see the fish tank.
Right.
Whatever. I mean, it's one of those things that drives you crazy because I grew up as a baseball fan. I mean, that was my number one sport as a child. By the time I was a teenager, it was football already. But when I was a kid, it was baseball. That was number one. And it's just one of those things that the last few years I have just lost all interest because I know that my team has no shot and they're not part of it. And it's like, what am I it reminds me of the MLS. When we had the fusion, brother, I knew every player in the MLS. I knew everything going on in the MLS. I was playing MLS fantasy. We lose the fusion, and I followed the MLS for like another year or two. And then after that, now I follow it half-ass. I don't really know all the players and all the coaches and everything going on. I kind of follow it half-ass. Why? Do I have a team? No. I was following the Portland Timber. Then the Orlando City came to life. That's been my favorite team since because it's the closest thing to here. But still, it was half-ass. Now we got our team. Trust me, I will be all over the MLS. I'll know the whole league by the end of next year. I'll know everything. I'll just study it all up and follow it because I'll have interest. Plus, I know that Jorge Mas is going to try. And it's sad. See, I can respect the Dolphins because while they were doing things the wrong way, in their own way, they were spending money and trying. And it might have worked. I never thought it would, and it didn't. But it might have worked, and I might have been wrong. But at least I respect that. People always walk up to me, or they tell me on a text or on a Twitter feed or whatever. They say, "You're so hard on the Marlins. How come you're not that hard on the Panthers?" And I go, well, have the Marlins committed to a core of young players? No. Panthers have. So they drafted and signed their players long-term. Now they went and got a great coach, and they got themselves a great goaltender, which hopefully he gets back to being a great goaltender. They're trying, dude. Hopefully it works out, and if it doesn't, it's a shame. But I'm not going to kill you when you're trying. I always tell, I don't kill the Dolphins for the Chad Henne pick. Never. I've never said, oh, wow, stupid pick. No, it wasn't. It was a good gamble. It was the right gamble at the right time in the late second round. That's where you're supposed to take them. Whether it works out or it doesn't, it's like what we were just talking about earlier with the QBs. You take a top 5 QB, doesn't mean you're going to hit on it. There's a good chance you're going to miss. A real good chance. It's not what you want, right? But you're trying. And that's what I want from the Marlins. I want them to try. I want to see you sign a core of players. I want to see you go after something in free agency. I want to see you care about winning. You can't be losing 100 games every year. It's no fun.
You know what compounds the issue, O? How many Marlins have we seen walk from the organization, go away, and blow up? Christian Yelich, bro. MVP. Tearing it up.
Yeah.
Stanton. Now with the Yankees. I mean,
it's not really tearing it up.
Well, no, he's been. I think he played 10 or 12 games.
He's tearing up the Yankees payroll right now. Is what he's doing.
He hasn't showed. And for me, it's hard. I win on one side and I lose on the other. And I mean, it's like,
and that's the one deal that you can say, okay, I get you trading that one, but Yelich, dude, Yelich's salary was a joke.
Exactly. The Marlins had no business signing Stanton to that contract to begin with, because that's going to make you lopsided, and you're not going to have any money for anybody else.
Yeah, but you can't blame Jeter for that, because that was
no. That was dumb.
So that's already done.
We
can't. That's water under the bridge.
Of course.
But for Jeter, at that moment when he was in the fork in the road, he had to say, "Okay, I gotta leave something here for fans to come to the door," and Yelich was the guy.
It
was a contract that was friendly.
Yes.
I get, if you kept at least Yelich, I wish you would have kept Yelich and Ozuna. That's probably what I would have kept out of the four. Okay, and then shipped the other two guys out. Then at least I would have understood, because you got the Wei and Chen contracts. You got a couple of other bad deals. Ziegler. There were a couple other deals that were really terrible that you can't do anything with it. You have to pay that money, and it's part of your payroll. It's part of your overhead. I get it. So you didn't want to add the $30 million of Stan. Plus, he is injury prone. He was injury prone here. He hasn't changed in New York. It's still the same dude. I had a producer named Brandon Rodriguez, exceptional dude, and he had a theory, and at first when he said the theory, it was like, okay, makes some sense. But over the years, he talked about how muscular he was, and that because he's so muscular and stiff, that he's not a guy that is a flexible type of guy, that the force he's putting on his body and all of that in playing the game, that it's probably what's creating all those injuries.
That baseball, you need that quick twitch muscle, not strong, big, thick.
Right. And so then it's creating problems for him, and I think he's right, actually. I think Brandon was right with his theory about Stanton, and it's never changed. But you had an opportunity, and that's what I want to see from the Marlins. A commitment that you're trying to win. You just got to meet me halfway as a fan. I can't sit here and just pay your salaries and pay the entrance to the game every day and beer and whatever and parking if you're Joe fan and you're not trying to win. So when there's 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people there, I understand that not a lot of people are going, why would you? They're not meeting you halfway. They're not putting out the best product possible. And here's the other thing. The perception that's out there. The perception is you can't afford to do it. So then the follow-up question is, why'd you buy the team? To just turn it over? And again, that's perception. So yesterday when I saw those moves, it's not like I was freaking out like, oh, my Lord, they signed 2 All-Stars. But I was intrigued like Andre is. I'm like, okay, wait a minute here. This is not normal for them. Is there more to this? And now we find out that maybe they will spend. Maybe they learned their lesson. In this town, you got to spend, man. You got to entertain.
I'm a little apprehensive. I would love for the Marlins, my two teams, to be ripping. That would be great. But bottom line, don't you have the feeling that this is a Billy Cunningham, Louis Chaffel parachute out and fill up the bank coffers?
Perception. That's the perception.
I really feel that way, man.
That's the perception. And none of these two guys are long-term guys. So, and we're going to feel that way until we see long-term commitments. It's pretty simple.
The other thing demoralizing, we had a guy that didn't have the money and got bankrolled by Major League Baseball to get Montreal, to get the Marlins, subsidized him. This situation, Jeter brought no money. Yankee fan loved Jeter as a player, but, dude, you didn't bring any money. We need owners that have money, guy.
Yeah.
So you're like the guy before.
Like I had that discussion when they first took over. I'm not a fan of groups of 40 people owning a team. I want one guy, one woman, or a family. That's it. That's how I want my ownership groups.
Be careful with the family thing, because look at the situation with the Yankees.
I know.
The brothers don't want to spend, but the sister does,
but
and we're not spending money.
Well, that's because the family inherited it from the originator. That's the problem.
Right.
And
everybody's got their own conception. The boys are accountants. The daughter's all about the Yankees winning like dad, and they don't
but
get
she's
along.
not in charge. So
Exactly.
that's the
Right.
problem.
Yep.
That's the problem. They're not going to spend. But anyway, the point is that you gotta shed perception, and maybe that's what they're doing. I don't know. Hey, at least I'm going to give them the forum a little bit here, and I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to give them credit when they deserve to get credit. It's like the people that freak out with me about Brian Flores. Like, oh, wow, you make him sound like he's the greatest. No, he's not the greatest, but, dude, I'm going to give him a whole bunch of love because he deserves it. He's done a really good job this year. And next year, if he doesn't win a game and he's getting his ass kicked, then we'll talk about how he sucked. That's all. Why don't we just be consistent and give people credit when they deserve it and when they don't? So the Marlins went after two guys that clearly will help their team. I got to give them credit for it. I know what the perception is because I feel the same way. But I'm not going to sit here and just go out of my way to rip the Marlins for no reason at all. They deserve a little love. And you know what? If Andre's right and they're willing to spend, more power to them, man. And advice to the Marlins. You better spend. You better find a way to entertain because there's nobody going to be at your stadium except the 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people that can't live without baseball, and they go because they love baseball. Those 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people, you're going to get them every time because they love baseball. They're not there just for you. They're there because of the game, and they love the game. But Inter Miami is going to capture the public's enthusiasm, their energy, their commitment. It's just going to be something that is going to go with Miami big time. This is going to be a monster hit this time around because they've got the ownership group. And Miami the Marlins are competing directly with them. They better wake up quickly. And I believe that this is why they did this move, because I believe that they see that those guys aren't going to screw around, man.
Are they listening to the Big O a little bit?
I don't know, man.
You know what? Exactly what you're talking about. The Marlins had to be freaked out when these guys go spend money on 3 different properties. Like, we are coming.
Yeah. And then they got the money. That's the thing. So that's the scary part. They got everything. They got the power. They got the money. They got the influence. You better get your ass in gear. And for me as a fan, I would love to have an excellent soccer and baseball team during the summer. Man, that would be fun. Be awesome. All right, let's take a break. We are going to switch gears here. We're going to talk a little Canes football. Manny Navarro joins us next.
Plus tax tag title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit. Offers end 11/10/19.
Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 50% less. A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
This is the Big O Show.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
All right, welcome back. We are ready with our Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes report with Manny Navarro. And, normally when I did radio for a long, long time, we take about 27, 30 minutes of commercial breaks with promos and traffic reports and all that in every hour. Normally, our podcast in every hour, we have maybe tops 4 or 5 minutes of breaks. Today, it's been, probably a little more along the lines of 7 or 8 minutes in the entire hour. I want to apologize for a little bit of the extended breaks, but it's, the voice, man.
You're not going to last if you don't, brother.
Yeah, I know.
We got to do it, to get you to the finish line,
yes, okay? Yes, we got to get to the finish line. And we got, of course, Manny Navarro. He's going to help us get to the finish line. He, of course, joins us every week here for our Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes report. And, of course, they're at 2511 South University Drive in Davie. Go to caneswear.com. Go see Brett and all the amazing people out there. They do have Marlins, Dolphins, Panthers, Inter Miami, Miami Heat stuff. So they got it all there at Caneswear. Go see Brett and tell him that Big O sent you. Follow them on Twitter at Canes_wear. Follow Manny at Manny_Navarro. Manny, good afternoon, my man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm driving here on I-95 from New York City up into Connecticut. Going to go visit with a Cane football recruit here in a little while.
Nice. All right. Good stuff. So we'll be reading about it in, I would imagine, the next 24, 48 hours or something like that, correct?
Right. Well, I have a couple stories. There's a couple, recruits up in this area. So a couple things that I was working on. One of them I'll be saving for our for the athletics big recruiting day blowout, which will be next week. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to zero in on recruiting here during these 2 weeks leading up to signing day, the early signing period on December 18th.
Has Manny been able to keep this recruiting class together after another disappointing loss?
Yeah, I mean, he really has, and I think a lot of it just has to do with the kids. I think the kids themselves, they have this little, message group that they have together, this chat group. I don't know if it's on WhatsApp or if it's on text message or what, but essentially, these kids have been, becoming friends over the year and really, check in with each other, really support each other. And, I talked to one of the guys last night, who basically said, I really believe in what Manny's doing, and I really believe that we're going to come in and be the difference. So, even while the team has struggled to a 6-6 season, I think the recruits themselves, the guys that have been the long-time hardcore commits, they really want to be a part of Miami, and Manny Diaz needs it. He needs it badly, and the program needs it badly.
How many players have gotten better under this coaching staff that you say from last year to this year have turned the corner, in other words?
You'd have to go position by position, but obviously when you look at a 6-6 record and you say they were 7-6 last year, it doesn't feel like anybody's really gotten better. But I think you have to look a little deeper than that. I think those offensive linemen, you look at where Zion Nelson was at the beginning of the year, he has gotten better. Even if he's still giving up sacks, even if he's still getting beat on plays, it's not nearly what it was before. Same thing with Ja'Kai Clark, another true freshman. Those kids shouldn't be playing their freshman year, but they go out there because there's nobody else, and people may not see it. They may say, "Well, you just gave up 9 sacks and 33 pressures." But those kids are basically being thrown to the wolves, and in the grand scheme of things, they are going to get better, and they have improved. I would say, there's other guys. Certainly, I think Brevin Jordan this year, before he got hurt, was improving a lot as a blocker. You look at the tight end position. I thought Will Mallory started to improve as the season went on. The receiver position, D. Wiggins took a few steps forward. I know he was in the witness protection program the last 2 weeks. But, before that, against Louisville and FSU, he's been playing well. So there's examples on offense, and there's examples on defense. I think certainly Gregory Rousseau, as the season went on, was better and better and better. I think in the secondary, Gervin Hall had a good season by his standards of being a sophomore, first-year starter. I thought that kid improved. There were plays that he made that he wasn't making at the beginning of the year. So there's improvements, but in the end, I don't think anybody will sit there and say this team is better because the record says it's 6-6.
Right, and that was going to lead to my follow-up. These kids that think they're going to be the difference makers, I don't know if they have the difference makers as coaches. So I don't know if those kids are going to reach their potential, because I'm not sure everybody's reached their potential here. That's currently right now. And I've had some fun with it where I've used the Dolphins as an example that I can, with Flores, I can point at specific players that are clearly getting better under Flores. I can see a team that's gotten better from day one till now. They are a much better football team. I have not seen that from Manny. That's my problem with Manny. I can't say from day one to right now you're a better football team. I saw the same football team the entire season.
Yeah. Well, I disagree a little bit, because I think during that 3-game winning streak there was progress made. I just think everything that you felt good about after the Louisville win and after beating Florida State, it went out the window the moment they lost FIU.
Right.
And it's hard to see. It's hard to see past that, because it's sort of inexplicable. It's like, teams don't normally do this. You don't start to all of a sudden. You don't have a quarterback like Jaron Williams throw 6 touchdowns, and then all of a sudden, look as horrible as he did against FIU, and then, to follow it up with a bad performance at Duke. It's kind of like, I don't know, you don't really see that in sports very often. It's like when kids start to figure it out, the momentum sort of carries. And even if they don't win a game, you don't see them take as big a step back. So I think that's the thing that's sort of puzzling here is why it is that this team took such a huge step back in these last two games. I know personally for me, I feel like it begins and ends with leadership. And I know you could point to the coaches, and I'm certainly not putting all the blame on the players here when I say this. But I stood there for the last 5 minutes of the Duke game behind the Miami Hurricanes bench, okay? And I just observed. I wanted to see who cared, who was showing emotion that they were about to lose to Duke for the second year in a row. And the only kid who was out there crying and pissed off was Nesta Silvera. A lot of the other guys, I watched them, N'Kosi Perry, Cam Harris, they were in conversation. There was no sort of like, at least to me, my eyeballs, watching them, watching their body language, watching them interact, it was like, we lost to Duke again. You know, and it's like, to me, what's really missing from this team are the alpha males that this program once had. Not just the great players, but the alpha males who would put the foot in the ass of their teammates the moment they saw any sort of negative body language. I think that's what this team was badly missing this season. Jaron Williams at quarterback, he's supposed to be your leader, but that kid is still a redshirt freshman, and I don't see those necessary leadership qualities that you need out of that position. The only guys who I think I really saw be vocal, interact, you know, sort of lead the pack constantly were guys like DJ Dallas. And DJ was out for that game. He was out for the FIU game.
But the freshman you just talked about, who recruited him?
Who, Jared Williams?
No, the freshman. The freshman you just talked about that you said that.
These are Manny. Yeah, these are Manny Diaz's guys. Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's no doubt. But I feel like while it's easy to sort of, you know, be upset with Manny because he should have never lost these last two games. I feel like you know, you also still have to give him a chance to fix the offense. And if he stands on his hands and he does nothing, he doesn't fire any coaches, he doesn't, you know, change anything in the offensive staff, then I think you can really jump down his throat. But I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give him an opportunity here after signing day to see what he does, to see if he takes action, to see what kind of changes he makes, and if certain kids start to get run off the roster, because I think that's what he needs to do. I think he needs to run a few kids off that, to me, create this atmosphere of we're losing is acceptable. I think I want to see more guys crying. I want to see more guys upset and pissed off when things don't go right, and I don't see that right now.
So you're saying there's a bunch of Hassan Whitesides because since the Heat got rid of Hassan Whiteside, they've got a better locker room. Is that what you're telling me, that the Hassan Whiteside disease is all over the Canes locker room?
Well, I certainly think it's a problem, and I don't know. I mean, listen, I covered Hassan Whiteside for 3 years. Hassan was a complete head case. What I see here, just I don't see the alpha males, man. I don't see the dudes who grab, you know, their teammates by the neck and keep them in line. Like, I don't see enough of that. I think a lot of that went out the door when Jaquan Johnson and Sheldrick Redwine left. Those guys did that kind of stuff, you know? And it was weird. I mean, you look at KJ Osborne. He's a newcomer. Yeah, he's going to lead the receiver room, but it's different. They needed more vocal guys on this team this year to not allow the things that happened to happen. I mean, there was no excuse for the effort against FIU. There's no reason to come out and play with no emotion and no passion against FIU. Like, that's why you lost that game, because you came out and you decided you didn't want to play that night. I mean, you can't be that way. This team needs alpha males, and I'm not saying the answer is in the 2020 class, but I can certainly tell you that talking to a lot of the guys who have been committed to this program for a while, a lot of those guys sound like Manny Diaz. Like, literally, when you talk to them, the things that they talk about and this vision and we're going to be the difference and yada, 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 things that it sounds like coach speak out of Manny, it feels to me like they really believe all of that stuff and that they're going to be different than the group. Now, obviously, a lot remains to be seen. They've got to prove all that. But I'm telling you, just from advertising and just from talking to them and hearing what comes out of their mouth and what they believe, I really think that these kids think that they are going to be the difference.
Well, the question is Manny the right guy to find those alpha dogs? Can he bring those alpha dogs here? And then the follow-up to that is, why would an alpha dog want to come here after what's been going on for 15-plus years? And look, I'm not saying that they don't and they shouldn't and all that. I want them to be here. I want them to come here. I want the Canes to get back to, being relevant again. But because of what's gone on, what's the track record to say that that's going to happen?
Right. Well, I mean, I think the only thing Manny has to stand on is that he fixed the defense. Right. He made the defense better. Those guys, even this year, after losing guys in the secondary, they were still putting up quality numbers in terms of tackles for loss, sacks. Yes, they gave up some plays they shouldn't have. I'm not absolving him of that blame. They certainly had some lapses where you felt like, man, what the hell are they doing on 4th and 17 in North Carolina? Or why the hell, are they letting Duke score on a 49-yard pass in the rain when it's easy for guys to slip down? Certainly some questionable decisions on defense. But I will say this. I feel like Manny's track record as far as building the defense, bringing in good players, there's some good players on this defense. I think a lot of them were just young this season, hadn't played a whole lot. We're filling in for guys that had left after playing for 2 or 3 years. And, I think next year you're definitely going to see a jump up in the level of play and performance because they did get to redshirt some guys on that defense. So I think that's a good thing. That's a positive thing. Those guys weren't thrown to the wolves. They were developed. And so I think the defense is certainly going to be better next year. But, again, you're right. As a head coach, what does Manny have to stand on? This first year was a failure. They took a step back on offense, and the quarterback position, while it felt like it was going to be resolved by Jarren Williams, you certainly have to sit there and say to yourself, man, what the hell happened those last 2 weeks? And, we'll see. We'll see if maybe Jarren Williams just isn't the guy to be the quarterback here. Let's not forget, not only was he hurt at a middle point of the season, but he walked away from his teammates, right?
Yes,
he was upset.
yes.
He walked out of a practice. So
and
to me, maybe
suspended last year too. So remember.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And Tyler Van Dyke is going to be the first quarterback that Dan Enos really recruits besides Peyton Matoka. Peyton Matoka was like a last-minute addition because he just needed to sort of add an arm. He's not as highly rated. This Tyler Van Dyke kid, who I'm going to go see now, he's a 4-star, legit, top 10 national quarterback. So let's see. Maybe he's the kid that's going to come in here and be the quarterback of the future. Maybe it's not Jarren Williams.
Let me ask you something, Manny. And Manny Navarro, of course, with our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report. Follow Caneswear at Canes_wear at 2511 South University Drive. And, of course, you can follow my man Manny Navarro on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. Manny Diaz kept harping on the effort of his players against Duke. And I got to tell you something. I have a problem with that because when you're more talented than Georgia Tech and you're more talented than Duke and you're more talented than FIU and you lose those games, effort has to be a part of it. Execution has to be a part of it. There is no reason or no way I could ever be happy with any kind of effort when you lose to a lesser team. That's like the big three, which I believe you covered, right? I think you were the beat guy, right? When they would lose a game to the Sixers or the Celtics or a really bad team, you would sit back going, come on, guys, what the hell are you doing? And by the way, it's happened several times over the years with different Heat teams, except this new Heat team now. This new Heat team actually beats the teams they're supposed to beat. But as I digress here, I don't know how he can continue to brag about the effort. Brother, the effort wasn't good enough against Duke and FIU. That's why you lost.
Right. Well, I think this is the part of Manny Diaz that comes out that's the son of a politician, right? I think, look, Miami really looked bad against FIU.
That's a good one.
The worst thing that you can be questioned is effort, right? Yes. Hey, we didn't play with the kind of effort. That's like the cardinal sin. If you don't show up and put effort, that's the cardinal sin.
Yes.
I think Manny Diaz was trying to say, look, we played hard, but we still sucked.
Right.
Okay? And I think there is something to that in terms of trying to, like, just build morale and then also send the message to the public that, look, I can still get these guys to show up and play. Whether or not it was true or not, I don't know. But, I think that's the politician, the Manny Diaz, saying, yeah, I probably shouldn't come out and question my team's effort because that's really more of a poor reflection on me not being able to get these guys to be up for a football game. So, to me, I think that's why he said a lot of the things that he said as far as effort is concerned. Look, in the end, Manny Diaz right now is pleading to recruits, please come to Miami, please help us resolve because the players here aren't good enough to help us win. In his estimation, at least on the offensive side of the football. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Oh, I just know this. I know the guy cares. Okay, I know Manny Diaz cares, and he's really trying. And let's see what happens. Let's see if he makes some changes to the coaching staff. Let's see if he goes into Dan Enos' office and tells him, look, you need to change this RPO nonsense that is completely ineffective. You need to change some of these elements on our offensive game that embarrassed us against FIU and against Duke to end the season. And we'll see. We'll see if there's any changes that are made. But I'm not ready to judge him completely yet because this signing class has to be finalized, and we have to see how they finish.
No, listen, I'm good with giving him another year just to see if this was an aberration. Plus, I want to see how good he is in correcting all these issues. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm good with that, but I'm not going to hold back and give him a pass for this year because it's disgusting what I've seen out there on the field on behalf of his coaching and his staff. Now, let me ask you something. Here's a two-part question for you. Blake James, one, how do you think this conversation's gone between these two? What do you think Blake James is demanding? And the second part is, if you're Blake James, what would you demand?
It's interesting. I don't know what Blake James demands. I don't know what Blake James really knows about football and really knows about the game and if he's the kind of guy who could have that conversation. I look at Blake James as a fundraiser, a guy who has spent his entire career raising money for an athletic program. There's a difference. There's a difference between being a money guy and there's a difference between being a sports guy. And I think, in terms of being a money guy, Blake James has been a slam dunk, right? He's gotten all these deals done. He's raised money for the university, got all these new buildings. As far as a guy who hires head coaches and knows what it takes to win championships, I don't know where that experience comes from. I mean, what championships has he won, as an athletic director or being around the game? He's always been a money guy. So I think, really the conversation that's happening is, hey, 6-6, we got a lot of people yelling at us and screaming at us and people who give us money who aren't happy. What do we got to do to fix this? I don't know that Blake James necessarily knows the answer. I don't know that Blake James, has a list of.
Oh, there we listen.
Hand Manny Diaz. I just think he's going to him saying, "Hey, man, how do we fix this?" And it's going to be up to Manny to figure it out.
Interesting stuff, man. I got to tell you. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. The thing that I would say has been amazing is that they have kept this class together. Now, knowing that this class has been together, tell us a little bit about Tyler Van Dyke because, we just talked about Jaron Williams and maybe his lack of maturity, and you talked about N'Kosi Perry, maybe after the game not necessarily caring as much. And obviously Tate Martell is in the answer, and he's having his issues. Tell us a little bit about Van Dyke and any other recruit that could be possibly coming.
Yeah, well, I mean, Van Dyke is certainly an interesting prospect. I got a chance to see him at Paradise Camp when they, the summer camp where they invite all the top prospects down, and he was throwing passes.
Wicked arm.
To the big.
Wicked arm. Dude.
Wicked arm. Yeah, ridiculous arm strength. I talked to his high school coach last week, Drew Gamir, and the kid's just a winner. Like he led his baseball team to a state championship up here in Connecticut. This year they went 9-0. He plays on multiple teams. I like the fact that I like kids who play multiple sports. So I don't know about you, but I like the fact that this guy doesn't just win in football, but he wins in baseball too and was like the pitcher of the year. So to me, look, I know a lot of people have come up and seen him. They think he's a top 10 quarterback. in this signing class in terms of nationally. So if he's got all the goods and he's a leader, then maybe he's going to be the guy that transforms that quarterback room and takes Miami where it needs to go. And maybe that's what ends up saving Dan Enos' job. I don't know. We'll see. As far as other guys in the class, I mean, look, they've got some good offensive players. The two running backs, Don Chaney Jr. from Belen and Jalen Knighton from Deerfield Beach, who they got last week. Both of those guys, I think, instantly come in and upgrade the running back position, which, we can talk about DJ Dallas and Cam Harris and those guys. But, to me, Jalen Knighton and Chaney are elite backs. They're guys that are – you need that kind of depth because as nice a kid as Robert Burns is, and he can run north and south, he doesn't have that explosive factor that Don Chaney Jr. has, or sort of the physicality that, the wear and tear that this kid Knighton has. He ran for over 5,000 yards in his career at Deerfield. So, I like the running back group. I like the quarterback group. Some of the receivers, that they've recruited. Michael Redding's a kid out of IMG Academy, who, is consensus like top 20 receiver nationally. That's a position that I look at and I still think, yes, D. Wiggins showed flashes, but what more can you get out of him here? Because he's got the frame, he's got the speed, he's got all the gifts you want, but the inconsistency is what kills me about that kid. Obviously the tight end, they recruited this kid Dominic Mamarelli out of Naples. He's a good, is a good, solid recruit, good blocking tight end, a guy who I think is going to, you just keep adding depth, behind Brevin Jordan and Will Mallory, guys that are going to be, I think, good players by the time they're sophomore and juniors, ready to contribute, So, and then the offensive line, Jalen Rivers is a big-time kid out of Orange Park, Oak Leaf. He's a 4-star offensive lineman. To me, he's the Von Donaldson with more want to and more skills. Like, that's what I look at. He's a big-bodied kid. He's 6'5", like 350-something. He's a big kid. He's obviously going to, being in the weight room with Miami, he's going to lose weight. But the one thing I like about him, his dad, he comes from a Navy background. And his dad, has really been strict on him, helped him lose weight before, helped him, get in tremendous shape. So, he's a good player. They've got guys, and they're going to keep adding here, and certainly defense as well. There's some good recruits here that they've signed. So I like the class. It's ranked, I think, 14th right now by 247 Sports in terms of like the consensus average. And there's, like I said, there's good players in it, and hopefully there's really good leaders. I think that's the thing that Miami needs more than anything else.
You said that maybe Manny goes in to talk to Enos. Any chance he makes a change with Enos?
Personally, I don't think so. I know fans want that, but I think Enos, obviously, there were some things that he did that improved the play of the quarterback. Was the offensive play calling good? No, not when you finish 130th in third down conversions, and somewhere in the 90s in red zone touchdown percentage. I mean, it was pretty bad. But again, does Manny look at it simply as a personnel issue and a maturity issue? Like, some of these offensive linemen have to grow up. You got to give them a chance, with the players that he recruits, type of thing. He probably does, and I think if you see any changes, it might be a position coach or two who maybe didn't do a great job recruiting, or who maybe Manny didn't see enough improvement of the current players. But I don't think he's going to make any changes at either coordinator spot.
All right, good stuff there. I know you're on the road. You kind of told us, so I guess repeat it. What are you working on The Athletic so the folks can check you out at The Athletic MIA?
Yeah, well, look, man, I'm in the Northeast visiting a couple different recruits up here. I'm also covering the Heat. I was in Brooklyn for the Nets game the other night and just wrote a story on Justice Winslow. And I'll be in Boston tomorrow night for the Celtics game. So I will have some Heat coverage for you if you're a Heat fan. As far as the Canes, lots of recruiting. Tyreek Austin Cave, who's a linebacker out of New Jersey, is one of the two linebacker commits right now. I expect a third. Jesus Machado out of Hialeah Champagnat will be committing probably on signing day, so they'll have a third linebacker, and they still got a chance at Justin Flo, so maybe four. But anyway, Tyreek Austin Cave I'll have a feature story on him sometime this week. I got a chance to talk to him and his dad. They live in Camden, New Jersey. And then, of course, at some point here soon, Tyler Van Dyke, I'll do a write-up on this quarterback recruit. And my plan when I go back home is to try to hit a couple in-state recruits, probably those guys in the Jacksonville area, Jalen Rivers, etc., to catch up with them before they play in the Under Armour game. And then we'll have bowl practices and everything else. So I'll be busy, man. December's a very busy month between recruiting and the bowl game and coaching changes and whatever else is going to happen. So stay tuned for all your updates. You can follow me on Twitter. I do a lot of my stuff there. But if you want to read some stories, definitely subscribe to The Athletic. I know we've had some deals of late. I think we had 60% off on Cyber Monday. And I know that we've got more deals here coming up, 40% off, etc. for a subscription. It's worth it, man, because
it's a joke.
We cover it all.
It's a joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
Yep.
You get so much coverage. It's crazy. Dude, I'm so old that when I was in private school back in the late 70s, I used to play against Champagnat in track, volleyball, chess, when they had that little school in Hialeah that only had a basketball court. That's it, dude. It was like a two-floor building that was like an apartment complex, and they just made it into a school. You remember that, Champagnat?
That was down the street from my school, St. John's on East 4th.
Right, on East 4th, exactly. Yes. Yes.
Because we were on East 4th and 6th Street, and they were like on East 4th on the other side of what is Sedano's, like 10th or 11th.
Yeah, dude, where is Champagnat? Because if they play football, they got to have a field now. Back in those days, they didn't have anything, bro. They were just like they had a volleyball, basketball court. That's all they had. We were surprised when we would play them in, race and track, because we were at South Florida Military Academy right off of Laguna Northwest 7th, but we had a big-ass field. We had a baseball field. We had basketball courts, all that. Hell, I played roller hockey with the private school, okay? Roller hockey, all right, which is crazy. But anyway, I'm just, where is Champagnat now?
It's still there in the middle of Hialeah. It's a one-floor building, and yet again, one little concrete basketball court. That's all it has. I mean, I went there to go talk to Jalen Harrell, the 4-star safety commit that Miami has. Of course, they produced Gregory Rousseau last 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So Champagnat's become like the University of Miami feeder program here the last couple of years.
Well, wait a minute, dude. So where the hell do they practice? Where do they play? What is it?
They go to a lot of different places. The Mylander. I mean, they're everywhere. They play, 10 regular season road games. And, this week they're in the state championship, by the way. They're playing
so they've
in
never
Tallahassee.
moved. They never moved from that little building?
It's not a 2-floor building. It's probably not the same building that you went to, but it is a small building, 1-floor building in the middle of Hialeah, like in a strip mall type area.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, it's definitely a different one because it wasn't a strip mall. I remember that. It was on the corner, I remember, if I remember correctly.
I can tell you, they were right on the corner. The Sedano's now is on the corner. There was the barber shop, and my buddy Acebo Roofing was on 10th, and it was like on 11th or 12th, right on the corner.
That's crazy, dude. That is crazy stuff. All right, follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. Manny, you're the best, my brother. Thank you for joining us every week like you always do.
Thanks for having me on. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, all that stuff. We'll talk soon.
You got it, baby.
Be safe in your travels, bro.
Be safe. There you go.
All right, thanks.
You got it. We'll get them back next week again. You get it every week here on the program, man. Only place you're going to get a Canes report like that. That's it. Only here. Every week. And we thank, of course, the great people at Caneswear, Brett, and all the amazing people at Bill's favorite place on planet Earth, Caneswear. He loves that place. He loves when we go there every single time.
I'm actually starting to hate it, man, because there's so much stuff I want. It's like, and you can only buy so many things.
I know. But you could just go crazy in that place.
It's like a shrine to UM. If you're a Canes fan, you got to go there.
Yeah, because you can't imagine everything in the world has a logo with UM on it. And he has it inside that store pretty much. It's awesome. You need a toilet that has the U on it. He probably has it somewhere. Not the toilet seat, the toilet itself. Brett could probably get it for you. Seriously. Our show is proudly sponsored by Murias Dental, the implant and Invisalign experts. Take advantage of your insurance benefits, folks, for 2019 before the year runs out. And then guess what? Your benefits are all gone. They don't roll over. So do it now. Call Eric. Call the great people at Murias Dental, 305-821-0231. Tell them that Big O sent you. 305-821-0231, and follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Murias Dental.
Plus tax, tech title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit offers and 11/10/19.
Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 50% less. A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodzie now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodzie can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
We are ready to rock. Hope you guys are doing well. Let's, you know what? We got a bunch of questions and comments here on the Twitter feed. Let's do that. Let's go to some of that. If you want to get in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, 786-322-1105. Remember, please download the app called CastBox. Okay? We are going to be on it. We are on it already. We've got our page is Big O Radio Show. We hopefully maybe by tomorrow, the next day, we'll have it figured out where you're going to be able to stream the show live now. You won't have to always watch it on YouTube. Okay, so if for those of you that want to stream the show only, you'll need that app CastBox. Also, I believe that app allows you to call into the show and also text into the show. Am I right, Bill? The app allows you to stream, call in, and text to the show.
That's what it appears. We would have been rolling, but the thing that it appears, it's not playing nicely with our connection with the YouTube
it's technical
feed.
stuff. Yeah, we got to figure it out.
Yeah, somehow to distinguish on the board. This one go over here and play, and this one, that one go over there and play.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll get it done. But CastBox, it's got an orange logo with like some white lines in it. And check it out. Download it. It's free. It's in your app store. And get ready because that's going to be a great way of communicating with us directly. Hell, we're going to be able to bring you guys on the air. That's pretty cool. Let's see what we got here for questions. Let's see. We got a lot of, I think most people are like, they're conversing with each other. Guys, let me know when I'm going to Dandy Donuts. Okay, we'll let you know the next time. I've been looking for the Sun Sentinel and Herald to clean house for a while, long overdue. To put it, who would keep going home to a spouse who tells them every day they are losers? What's going on, Big O? Mandy Shannon, Folden Diaz, it's pure basura. And Jay is asking, Orlando, why aren't we heading criticism of Dan Enos? Because you are correct, by the way, that there should be some serious criticism of Dan Enos, but that's Manny's job. And this is why this offseason and next season will be very important, because we're going to see what he sees. Because if he doesn't do anything, then he thinks we're all full of crap and Dan Enos is right. And that's probably not the case. And then in the end, he will pay with his job. Now, if he fixes it, then we know that he saw the same thing we did and wanted to correct it. Clearly, that's what it is. But Dan Enos should get a ton of criticism here. He deserves to be criticized thoroughly because he has not gotten it done. And it's only been inconsistency from that position. And I haven't seen enough creativity. I haven't seen enough progress either with any of these guys, and that bothers me too. Big O, all I want for Christmas is to sweep the stinking Jets and their bug-eyed coach, Cubano in North Carolina. Well, you could be getting your wish, man. The Dolphins will definitely have a shot at beating them. No doubt about that. Big O, Tannehill must be playing for the Alaskan Titans because that sun is shining on his ass every day. You're right about that. But it's a streak, brother. Haven't you seen streaks for Tannehill? He goes on those.
Scott Mitchell, once upon a time, had a streak, and Detroit spent all that money and grabbed that guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a nice little streak. It's how we are in this world. We fall for it, and then even though we know what's coming, people are still falling for it. But eventually, it'll happen. He'll go back to being Tannehill because that's what he is. He'll kill drives, kill games, and also kill his players, leave them hanging out there, and they'll get nailed. Remember back in training camp when Flores made offense or defense run to the wall when they screwed up? It's paying off. He got in their heads, and they're staying there. The Fish. Yep, you're right. You are 1,000% right, Fish man. That's part of culture. This is the way we're doing things. You will not be committing stupid penalties. You will pay a price. Nothing wrong with that. A lot of us that are, I don't know, I want to say maybe 35, 40 and over, you grew up in a different era of life. And you, most of the time, you had the kind of parents that there were consequences to everything and anything you did. I don't know about that today. I don't know if there's enough consequences going on. Big O, can you remind the folks listening that all love Marino when he was selected in the draft? Oh, yeah, he was he was there were cocaine rumors. He fell to the 20s. Yeah, there were. It wasn't perfect.
Fifth guy taken. 4 quarterbacks in front of him.
Yep. And only one of the 4 worthy, right? Kelly? Who was the third guy that was pretty good in that I know Blackledge and Eason and O'Brien. Okay, so no. Yeah. So Kelly's the only one that you could argue and say, okay, you could take him before Marino or Marino before him. That's it. The other 3 were a complete insult.
Tony Eason was the quarterback for the Patriots when they played the Bears.
Yes.
That beat the Dolphins at the OB for the AFC Championship game that pissed me off.
Yeah, it was like 3 fumbles that game, or 4 fumbles.
Yeah, because we never lost at home. We never lost at the OB in the losing AFC Championship game. No.
That was terrible. Hey, Big O, did you get a chance to listen to Joe this morning ripping Omar? I did not, but apparently it made the rounds because you guys have brought it up several times. But I'm not surprised because I know I've been reading Omar, and he is not a fan of Brian Flores, which is baffling to me. Orlando, what is – oh, okay, wait a minute. This is this is something else.
All right. Do we need to let everybody know we're about to go rated R? Is that why you're laughing so hard?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I can talk about it. I mean, my life's an open book. I don't really care.
Yeah, but, we try to keep it within the PG-13 realm.
This is the accidentlawfirm.com text line. Okay? What reached out to me right now was my Inter Miami sales executive for my season tickets. Okay,
through the accident law firm.
Text line.
That's awesome.
Dude, you have my cell phone. You have my email address.
Obviously, it's very pertinent. We need to get to Big O right now, even while he's on the show. What's the deal with your tickets, buddy?
That is awesome, dude. That is awesome. That's fantastic. What is the best time and number to call you at so we can finalize your season tickets?
They wanted to get an answer prompt, man.
That's fantastic, bro. That is fantastic. Sending them a request on the accidentlawfirm.com text line. Well, hey, you know what? It's working, the accidentlawfirm.com text line. How about that? It's been working since a lot of you use it, and I appreciate it. Hey, listen, whenever you're listening to the podcast, you got a question, you got a comment, you disagree with something, you think I'm a moron, send it in. What the hell? That's what it's there for. It's for you to communicate with us or for my season ticket sales agent from Inter Miami to call me. That is just awesome, dude. That is fantastic. I got to tell you. Let's see. Jim Gleason says, 55 years old today, there were always consequences. I don't know what that means.
Because of his age. Okay, he's 55 today. Happy birthday, by the way.
Oh, I see.
And yes, the age group that we grew up in.
Oh, yes.
You had consequences.
Yes. That's right, Jim. Thank you. You're right. Yes, now I got it. Sorry, I'm stupid. I got a lot of phlegm in my mind right now.
The cold's it's going to your head now.
By the way, Kamala Harris dropped out of the race. How about that? Not that I was voting for anyways, but she dropped out of the race. That's probably why she dropped out, because she knew I wasn't going to vote for her. That's probably it. That's a good one. I'll go with that at least. I'll what the hell. At the top of the hour, Ryan Dunleavy from the New York Post is going to join us. We're going to talk a little NFL. We'll bounce around the league. What else do we got the Heat tonight. We got the Panthers tonight. I love and hate this, right? I love that the Panthers are playing tonight. I love that the Heat are playing tonight. I hate when they're playing at the same time. 7 and 7:30. Like, at least I get the Panthers for a half hour without having to have my head spinning on a swivel, and I've got to be Bobrovsky of TV watching, right? Because you're, whoa. You just got to keep up with everything. Terrible. And congratulations, University of Miami basketball team, and their win over Illinois yesterday.
I saw that. They held on.
Yeah.
They were up by 20. Oh, yeah. Illinois on the road, Big Ten, no doubt.
It's a good win for them, man.
Those are the ones that if you're in the 20 to 22 win area,
right,
the road wins are what give you the difference when they're sitting down setting up the 64 tournament, or 66, I guess it is now. Yeah. 66 to make the big. Yeah. Anybody can make the NIT.
But
okay,
it's almost, I don't care about the NIT.
No, you shouldn't say that. The thing about the NIT is that at least you get to get that practice time for next year. Dude, it helps.
As a fan.
I know, but it's not about the fan. It's about this year helping you for next year. And just to have those practice.
Those young guys,
yes,
I get
exactly.
I get the method behind that madness. I get all of that.
Plus, you may get further in the NIT, which gives you even more practice. We slip into the tournament.
Yeah,
we're going to be in and out, and that's it.
Yeah, true. But it's still a bigger deal, and it's a bigger honor, and it's a bigger accomplishment.
The ACC and UM love the money. I mean, let's face it.
And you have an advantage when you're in the ACC. While it's a disadvantage because the schedule's brutal, because the conference is brutal, but because the conference is brutal, it helps you with your strength of schedule. So if you're able to even go 500 in the tournament, in the conference, you're in the tournament. 500.
I want to say that in the last 20 years, there has only been a couple of times that a team was like 9-8, one game over 500, and did not make the tournament.
Yeah, it would be rare.
Yeah, because you're looking at the 6th or 7th, 8th team in the ACC.
That's probably what it is.
We put in 7.
So many that get in. It's like, okay, well, this is the 9th team. We don't need to put them in. We'll take the 3rd team in Conference USA. Something like that.
That's exactly what it was. They already had 7 in.
Yeah.
You're going to put 8?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a pain in the ass. But it's one of those things that does help you out as a program if you're able to do that. Sadon Long. So speaking of practice time, any news in a bowl for the U? No, nothing yet, sir. Nothing yet. Are you really, are you hanging on the edge of your seat to find out what bowl game?
We're going to be in Vermont doing the Maple Syrup Bowl up in Vermont.
Really? Who cares? And the bowl game that UM is going to get invited to is going to be one that you're going to be embarrassed to accept. You understand that? That's kind of what it is. It's like, hey, we're going to the Blue Bonnet Bowl. Really? Why? That kind of stuff. All right, the bowl game that Miami is going to be invited to, they probably lose money going to it. Okay?
Here, let's do it this way. What date? Because obviously the further down closer to the end of the year,
Christmas, somewhere right after.
No. You really think I'm looking December 18th? Because we've been around my birthday, the 27th. We were there. We've done it like 4 times in the last 6 years, and obviously 4 days in front of January 1st. Not good, bro. I'm looking the 20th, the 18th.
You might be right.
Not even. We're going to be like a week in front of Christmas.
You might be right. And the worst thing is Manny Diaz has weeks now to prepare. Usually that's a good thing, but not for Manny. Man, you give Manny weeks and you're dead in the water. That's the problem. That's the sad part right there. Holy moly. You know what it is that you can't feel good about your head coach having time to prepare? How weird is that? This will be the fourth time this year that he will have an extensive amount of time to prepare for an opponent. Will his team look prepared for the first time this year is the question. Because the last three with a week off, you looked like crap. Just weird. Anyway, if you want to reach out to us on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, it's 786-322-1105, 786-322-1105. When we come back, we are going to talk a little NFL. We'll go around the NFL with Ryan Dunleavy from the New York Post, covering the NFL for the New York Post. We will talk all things football with him next.
Plus tax, tech title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit. Offers end 11/10/19.
Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used.
50% less.
A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SCT, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million, whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
Welcome back.
This is the Big O
We are trying to get in contact with Ryan, and hopefully we will in a few minutes, and we'll get in contact with him and bring him aboard. If you want to get in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, all you got to do is dial 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line. Even if you're my Inter Miami sales executive, you can even reach out to me there.
You know who usually hits you up during the show, is phone call wise, has been your agent. I'm surprised he hasn't used the Accident Law Firm text line.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, that's I guess other ways to contact me without actually calling my cell phone, which is crazy. Which, by the way, everybody in that organization has my cell phone. Okay. The owner has my cell phone. All right.
Weren't you hanging out with all them guys when they were doing the stuff during the election
Moss
that
and,
night,
Moss
right?
and Beckham.
That's what I thought.
I was hanging out with the two most important dudes in the organization. Yes, I've had them both on the show. So, yes, we have. But it's funny, man. You got to love that. Anyway, so we got that going on. The whole deal with the top pick now in the draft, Miami right now is at number 4 for those of you that are absolutely obsessed with Miami and the draft pick, which, again, not where you pick, it's who you pick. And right now you're not in position apparently for Joe Burrow. You're not in position for Chase Young at this point. Maybe more about the Tristan Wirfs kid, the CeeDee Lamb, the wide receiver from Oklahoma. Isaiah Simmons from Clemson is another guy. The outside linebacker is another guy. Jeffrey Okudah, the cornerback from Ohio State. Ohio State's got a couple of top picks in this draft. Not just a D-end, but also the corner, considered kind of a shutdown guy. The tackle Andrew Thomas from Georgia is another guy that's going to be in that group of those top 5 picks where Miami is at. They're at number 4 right now. It's Cincy, the Giants, Washington, and then Miami at number 4. And you don't want to go crazy trying to trade up either. Okay? I don't think in this case, I don't think you want to act desperate because you have all that draft capital. You don't want to now give that draft capital away when you can draft a lot of good players and create one hell of a team. You will find a quarterback. Don't worry. And you can listen to our prior segment. We gave you plenty of reasons why you shouldn't be overreacting with the number 1 pick. It just doesn't really pay off most of the time.
I was thinking of something, we don't get a quarterback. We grab one in the third or fourth round, and he battles with Rosenblatt, and we're kind of in the same spot. We don't have our guy going into next year. If Trevor Lawrence is still the kid and he's the be-all, end-all, do we try to trade up and get that kid? Like, put crosshairs on it and go after him all in?
On who?
On the Lawrence kid from Clemson next year. You know what I mean? If it's still he is the guy.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. They've got to trade in picks to that draft. And they will, I think, in this draft coming up, they will trade back into the 2021 draft and try to position themselves. But I don't think he's going to be clearly number one. Okay, Flores, with no talent, can't go 0-16. Okay? I mean, they tore that thing down. They were all young, and he's already won 3 games. More to come.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
which
right. The way you worded it, though, that was hilarious. He can't go. We tried. We did everything we could to undercut the guy.
They went young, and they thought, okay, well, we're going to reset the team, and most of us thought, okay, well, they're not going to win anything or very little, and this guy's done better than what you expected with no talent. That's crazy. So next year, there's no doubt that you should be better next year because you'll have more talent. So you should win a couple of extra games, a game or 2 or 3 more next year. Then that puts you in a position where you got to try to acquire a pick that is going to be really high next year in the draft. And it's not going to be your own. Because you have to try to set yourself up that way, because if you don't, you're going to have to give up the world to all the way move up. And here's the other thing. I don't think the person that has Trevor Lawrence is trading Trevor Lawrence, no matter what you offer them. Okay? Because that is a franchise-changing type player. And you could give up, you could say, well, they're giving us 3 first-rounders.
In other words, even if you have a quarterback already, you're probably still I'm keeping it.
Unless it's a young stud, unless it's Kansas City.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a perfect.
You know, if you're Kansas City or whatever, then you can't make that.
Houston. You
right.
got Watson.
Same thing. I can see that then. But those kind of teams, it would be catastrophic for them to get to number 1.
They're not. I was just going to say, these teams are only going up in the standings.
And if they have bad years, they'll win 5, 6, 7 games anyway, because they have enough talent to win those kind of games. The league is set for you to be 500 anyway. It's weird, man. It's just weird. But they will. They'll trade into the draft the following season and try to position themselves. But I don't think it'll be because they're going to try to move up. That's all. We'll see. That's so far ahead at this point. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm not even thinking about this draft yet. I'm still enjoying what's going on right now. And we talked about this yesterday, how at 3-9, you have a much better feeling about this team than you ever expected at the beginning of the year. After those first 2 games, think about it. After the first 2 weeks, do you think you would ever feel like you feel right now at 3-9? It's 3-9 is a terrible record, but for us, if you look at it and you say, well, wait a minute, they have no talent, they're all young. They've won 3 of their last 5 games. They've gotten better as the year's gone on. They're actually building something here, So you feel better about the team and its direction now than you did after week 2. Strange, but that's the case. It really is. 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the program, that's 786-322-1105. We really didn't go around the NFL yesterday, but I will say this. I enjoyed that Bengals win, and I wasn't the person, never crossed my mind, I don't care about it, because I had a buddy of mine send me a text, goes, dude, we're winning, and since he's winning. Couldn't we lose? And I just sent him back an emoji with a smiling face. Because I've heard this enough already, and it's like, dude, please. I'm done with that. I'm not worried about that. And I'm more worried about you building a good team with a good culture, and that's the start of it, is what's going on now. The culture is more important than any pick you're going to make. Remember that, okay? If a great player walks in to a terrible culture, what happens? You're Steve Young in Tampa. You're what's Peyton's dad's name? I forgot now.
Oh, Archie?
Archie. You're Archie in New Orleans. Right? That's what happens. I mean, Steve Bartkowski was a pretty damn good quarterback. I won't call him great, but I'd call him a pretty damn good quarterback, and he was stuck on a bad team. Walter Payton, for many years, stuck in a terrible culture, terrible team, until Ditka and company took over, and they changed the culture, they changed the team, and then luckily for Sweetness, he was able to, it was like Ray Bork. Ray Bork got traded to the Avalanche at the end of his career, and he got to win that championship. Same thing. Walter Payton was with a bunch of sorry-ass players, Bob Avellini and all that crap, and then eventually got that title at the end, in the twilight of his career. Culture is everything, because you can be Mitch Richmond and be a hell of a player and play your ass off for the Sacramento Kings, but you're still the Sacramento Kings. Does nothing for you. So culture is really important. And for those out there that are just thinking about tanking, they miss out on the big picture. You could suck and have the number one pick and then bring the guy onto your team. And if you're the Raiders, you're the Raiders. And then when you're the Raiders and you add Jamarcus Russell, what's it going to get you?
Worse than that, Ryan Leaf.
There you go. But it's not that San Diego's culture was bad. You know what I mean? Ryan was bad. What I was talking about with Oakland is the culture was bad, the player was terrible, you had no shot. None. Jimmy Smith, not the receiver, the cornerback, came out of Colorado with a lot of baggage. Fell in the draft. Baltimore picks him. You know why they picked him? Because he's a player. But not only is he a player, and he's had some issues in the team over the years, not a lot, not compared to what people thought he might have coming out of college with some of the stuff he had going on. But at that moment, they were drafting him into a locker room with Suggs and Reed and Lewis and culture. So they figured, okay, he's got some baggage, but we can embrace him, we can make him better as a person and move on. And eventually that's what's happened. He's had, a couple of issues, but nothing real major. But it's culture. And it's a cliche. It's a term we throw around loosely. We kind of throw it around in jest too. It's maybe it's a lighthearted approach to it. We don't take it seriously. But it's very important because you watch it with the Heat. It's been set in place. This is the way you're going to do things because this is how we do it in Sioux Falls and this is how we do it here in Miami. And this is what you're doing now with the Dolphins. Whether it's the wall, whether it's the penalties, whether it's hard-nosed approach, whether it's effort for 4 quarters, whatever it is, there is a culture they're trying to establish. And you can have all the picks you want, ladies and gentlemen. But if you don't have the right coach, you don't have the right personnel personnel group in the front office, it doesn't matter. We can see players, and you and I have seen teams that suck, like the Clippers for many years. They sucked. They had top picks all the time. Never did anything with them. Why? Culture wasn't in place. Now you bring in Doc. Now you bring in the owner. You bring in Jerry West. How's the culture with the Clippers now? You got rid of Donald Sterling, right? Mike Brown. Mike Brown constantly hires morons. Or drafts them, I'm sorry, not hires. Constantly has players that are getting arrested and doing stupid things. Hell, the story came out after Vontaze Burfict had his latest issue that got suspended for the year. I read a story where Marvin Lewis wanted to suspend Burfict more times in Cincinnati, but Mike Brown didn't let him. That's culture, ladies and gentlemen. That's your owner allowing stuff to fester. This is what we're talking about. So you can poo-poo it all you want. You can laugh about it. You can play it down. But it is so important that if you don't have it in place, I don't care what you draft. You'll be the Bucks that they've been the Bucks for many years, where they had high picks and they weren't doing anything with it. The Jags went through that time. Cincinnati's gone through it. Arizona's gone through it. Miami's gone through it. Detroit Lions have had plenty of bad seasons, high picks.
Half a century, bro.
And they never build on it. And that's because there's never a good culture in place in Detroit. And that's why I tell you that it's funny when I hear people, well, I don't trust Chris Grier. I don't know if he can make the picks. Well, look at all the picks that are going on. He's made these picks lately. Look at the coach he hired. He did a pretty good job hiring that coach, right? So then how about giving him some credit? They actually can do it. But let's pay attention to what's actually going on. Pay attention to what they're establishing in Miami, and trust me, what he's trying to do this year, if it rolls over into next year, is more important than any first-round pick you're going to add, because this will give them the chance to succeed, because Gesicki got better with these guys, and Devontae Parker got better with these guys. That's the difference. All right, I promised you that Ryan Dunleavy would be joining us from the New York Post. You can follow him on Twitter at R.Y. Dunleavy. Rye Dunleavy. Catch his work there at the New York Post covering the NFL. Ryan, good afternoon, my man. Do we have him yet? No? Yes?
We're trying to get him on. Hold
on. All right. We almost have him on. So I got a little ahead of myself here a second. Hey, give me the theme song for a couple seconds here.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right, thank you very much. We are going to get in contact here with Ryan Dunleavy in just a second. It's just this thing, man, stuffs you up, and
you're in its clutches. It's got you really good.
Yeah, I got to tell you.
And, of course, all the talking on the show doesn't help either.
No, it does not. So we're going to get Ryan on now as Bill is working it, as always, cranking it out. And we'll talk to Ryan Dunleavy from the New York Post. You can follow him on Twitter at RYDunleavy. And we will talk a little NFL with him.
We have Ryan for you, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. Ryan, good afternoon, my man. How are you doing? Ryan, are you there?
Hello?
Yes, we got you, Ryan. Are you there, my man? You got me?
I got you. Hello?
All right, there we go, Ryan. All right, good stuff. Appreciate you joining us. First of all,
sorry for the trouble.
It's all good, my brother. It's all good. How since you are in New York, how are they reacting now that the Jets had the other setback now this week against the Cincinnati Bengals? I'm wondering.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reaction is same old Jets. I mean, I hate that phrase, but I think that even the longtime Jets fans saw this coming. It was almost like beating the Raiders was a setup. You know, oh, maybe we're better than we thought we were. And then, oh, no, here's the next game is the Bengals. It's almost like the Jets would have been better off and their fans would have been better off facing the Patriots the week after the Raiders game and knowing, okay, well, loss is coming. But that was almost like a cruel setup to win 3 in a row, get the winless team, then get the Dolphins and feel like a 5-game winning streak was ahead. And if you know the Jets, that's just not how things work.
Are you believing the owner when he says that he will survive and he will be brought back next year?
Yes, I totally believe him. Because there's no reason to do it. You just have to look across the way at the Giants, who have a stable ownership group and have totally not done that. Have avoided. John Tisch actually was asked about it today for the first time at a March of Dimes event, and did not support Pat Shurmur. Basically said, we'll have those conversations at the end of the season. So if you don't want to make those comments, you don't have to make those comments. There's plenty of ways to talk around it. So when Christopher Johnson goes out and says he's going to be back, I believe he's going to be back, especially when you win 3 straight right after that. It's what's good for the quarterback, and it's continuity is good for Sam Darnold right now.
Yeah, but they do have an out. If the brother does come back, then he...
They do.
Huh? If
they do.
Go ahead.
I think they do. You're right. They have an out. But I can't believe that Christopher Johnson would have done that without talking to Woody Johnson first. I can't believe that anybody he wouldn't have said, hey, I want to do this, and that Woody wouldn't have been like, yes, okay. I can't believe Woody will come back and change the mind. That would look incredibly dysfunctional.
Do you believe that Gase has the respect of his locker room?
I do, yeah. And I think it starts with Arnold. I think it starts with Bell. I think those guys, have said it time and time again. And look, you got to be in the locker room to know. And I think that, yeah, that is not a locker room that. And look, it's coming at a time where they had won 3 in a row. You know, look, this step back is going to certainly raise some flags, but I think you can see a team that saw its coach get a vote of confidence and won 3 games in a row, including an upset. I think that team has much more confidence in its coach right now than the Giants do.
Ryan Dunleavy from the New York Post joining us. You can follow him on Twitter at RYDunleavy. The Patriots, my brother, that offense looked slow, old. It just didn't look like it had any explosion whatsoever. And, the numbers say it, too. They're not an explosive offense. Are we seeing finally the demise of the Patriots, or there's no way we should be talking about that at all?
No way. Fool me once, fool me twice, fool me 47 times. No way. I don't see it. Look, does that mean they're going to win the Super Bowl? What's the demise of the Patriots? They're still 10-2, right?
Yes.
Does that mean they're not going to get to the second round of the playoffs? I would say that would be a demise. They're always in the second round of the playoffs. They're always in the AFC Championship game. You told me they lost the AFC Championship game 34-31 to the Ravens. I mean, to me, that's not the demise of the Patriots. They could have lost to the Chiefs last year if not for an offside call. I don't think we're talking about the demise of the Patriots. Do I think they're going to win the Super Bowl? They'd still be my pick. But if they don't, that's not the demise of the Patriots. The demise of the Patriots is when they come back down to earth. And to me, this is just the same thing we do every year. It's just a little later in the season. We do this in September every season. oh, is this the year it falls apart? No, this is a great defense. It's a different Patriots team, a great defense that with offense that needs some help. But you know what? If I need help with my offense, I'll have Tom Brady run, help guys who are running crossing routes all day. I'll have him throw them open and rely on my defense. It'll be a nice change for the Patriots.
Yeah, and you know when I'm looking at it, Ryan, and they're just going to have to play. You tell me if I'm wrong here, but I think they're just going to have to play a possession-controlled type offense where they run the ball a lot, they pass the ball to their running backs a lot, they have long drives, controlling the clock, controlling possessions of their opponents. I think that's kind of how they have to play because they've got the defense to do that. They've just got to kind of get that prodding offense to be that way, put together. And they can, and Brady's one of those guys that, you know, a lot of quarterbacks can't put together those 12, 14 play drives because they'll make mistakes. This is one of those dudes that has the patience to actually kill you slowly like that.
Correct. I think everything you said is exactly right. If I'm going to go on a long drive, I want Tom Brady to be the guy leading me on a long drive. And let's not forget, because he's had a quarterback, the greatest quarterback of all time for all these years, and, you know, some weapons who've come through on offense, you know, Edelman, and go back 10 years to Randy Moss, and some of the guys he's had on his offense, Wes Welker. The Patriots have been an offensive team. Let's not forget Bill Belichick is maybe the greatest defensive mind of the last 40 years. So if you're telling me he has to win a game with defense, I fully believe he can win a game 9-7 if he needs to.
All right, Ryan, tell me, are you believing in the Ravens? One, Lamar's already proven me wrong, but I don't believe he will prove me wrong on the long term because I don't believe a quarterback can run 200 times a year and stay healthy. Unfortunately, I think we're going to have that situation where RG3 ran into Haloti Ngata and the rest is history. I think it's going to end up happening. So I'm wondering, how do you view this whole thing and this movement by the Ravens?
That's a great question, and I'll tell you the debate I've had with a bunch of other reporters. Would you rather 5 years of Lamar Jackson? Because I agree with you. I don't know if he can hold up. The comparison to me is thick, not so much RG3, but thick. But if you would rather have 5 years of Lamar Jackson playing at this level, maybe he wins you a Super Bowl, maybe he doesn't, but he's playing at an MVP level.
No doubt.
5 years like this before he suffers a serious injury or has to change the way he plays as he gets older. 5 years or 10 years of unknown promising guy like a Sam Darnold or a Daniel Jones or a
Matt Stafford.
guy who's still in the Baker Mayfield.
Matt Stafford. Huh?
What'd you say?
A Matt Stafford type?
Yeah, a Matt Stafford type, a younger Matt Stafford type. What would you rather have? Because if you're telling me I get 5 years of Lamar versus Daniel Jones or Darnold is going to give me Matt Stafford's career, I'm going to take the 5 years of Lamar and bet that 1 year I can win a Super Bowl. I'm going to take the 5 years of superstardom versus the 10 years of just a good quarterback and hope that in those 5 years I can win a championship or two. That's really what it's all about, is can you win one or not. If you can't win one, then you're better off with the 10 years of really solid play than the 5 years of spectacular play. But I'll bet on Lamar and what they're doing right now. He's proven me. I covered college football when he was the biggest star in it, and I didn't think it was. You're right. He proved me wrong. I didn't think it was translatable to the NFL. I never thought he had to play receiver like some people did. I thought he could be an NFL quarterback, but I did not see MVP caliber play coming from him.
Now, I love the way you phrased it, Ryan, because if you do give me 5 years of health, then I'll take my chances, because I just told you that if you control the ball with the Patriots and the running game and all, which is what the Ravens are doing, they're controlling the clock, they're controlling the running game, they are manhandling you, they're wearing you out by the fourth quarter. You can easily win a championship in that fashion, but you got to guarantee me the 5 years of health. I don't know if this kid can stay healthy for 5 years, but the way you phrased it, I'm with you. I would take 5 years of Lamar if he can play this way and stay healthy. That would be an absolutely phenomenal get.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, the Patriots' way of doing things has worked because they have the greatest quarterback of all time and the best coach of all time. But you made a great point, Matthew Stafford. Like, I'm not going to guarantee you Jones or Darnold is going to have Matthew Stafford's career. They could be better, they could be worse. But if you're giving me 5 years of Lamar at this level, or 10 years, and Matthew Stafford's won what? One playoff? No, hasn't won a playoff game, right? Hasn't been to a playoff game. Hasn't won a playoff game. Has been to the playoffs 3 or 4 times. 9-7 was like the regular record under Jim Caldwell. To me, I'll take my chances with the spectacular. And if I have to draft another quarterback earlier than I normally would because Lamar Jackson's shelf life isn't as long because he gets beat up, well, then I'll do that. In 7 years, I'll draft another quarterback.
Ryan Dunleavy joining us from the New York Post. Follow him on Twitter at RYDunleavy. Hey, Ryan, before I let you go, I'm not falling for it because I've seen plenty of it. I've seen the streaks, and that's who he is. Are you falling for the banana in the tailpipe in Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee?
No, I'm not falling for it. No, I think there's Ryan Tannehill is what he is. He can start in the NFL. He's a starting NFL quarterback, just like I think Andy Dalton's a starting NFL quarterback. Do I think either one of those guys is leading you to a Super Bowl, is leading you deep into the playoffs, even with a good team around him? The Titans have a good team around them, a much better team than the Dolphins ever did, including when the Dolphins went to the playoffs that one year with Gate. But I don't see, eventually in the playoffs, your quarterback's probably going to have to win you a game. It's not going to be Tannehill. It's not going to be Dalton.
I'm with you there all the way. Follow him on Twitter at RYDunleavy. Catch his work at the New York Post. Ryan, thank you for taking some time, my brother. When you come on down, we'll treat you to those donuts.
That sounds good. I'm in.
All right, brother. Be good. Thank you.
Thank you.
There you go. Ryan Dunleavy, man. Good stuff there. We appreciate Ryan for joining us. We are going to now take a short break. Ben Ennis is going to join us. Bill's going to dial him up right now. We'll get Ben Ennis on. He covers the Raptors. 590 The Fan in Toronto. Guess who's in Toronto tonight? The Miami Heat. Let's talk a little Heat and Raptors. Next.
Plus tax, tech title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit. Offers end 11/10/19.
Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 50% less. A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million, whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
Welcome back. I'm struggling with the voice today, and I really appreciate a lot of you that have hung in there, and I see you staying there and waiting on YouTube and watching, and I appreciate your patience immensely. We are awaiting now Ben Ennis from 590 The Fan to join us to talk a little Heat and Raptors as the Raptors get ready, which crazy story, dude. Masai Ujiri, who is the general manager of Toronto, and you've seen what the Raptors have done over the years. He's one of the 3 best GMs in the business, okay? No doubt about it. How about that report that he might leave Toronto to go to the Knicks? Why? What are they doing in Toronto to like insult you? It's weird. So I want to talk to Ben about that, because I saw that story and I thought that was odd. You know what I mean? And tonight, hell of a game because two teams that are right there in the battle for the top of the East. Raptors are second at 15-4. Miami's in third place at 14-5. Actually tied with the Celtics at 14-5. So we're going to talk to Ben Ennis from the Fan 590 in Toronto. You can follow him on Twitter at SportsNetBen. Let's bring him aboard. Do we have him yet? Almost. All right, we're trying to get Ben on here. I know he's kind of on hold here, so we're hopefully bringing him up here, and hopefully we'll get him on. And let's see. Do we have him? And there we go. Do we have Mr. Ennis? Ben, how you doing?
Should have Ben, man.
Ben, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. How's it going?
Oh, it's going great, my brother. Thank you for taking some time. And, of course, you can follow him on Twitter at SportsNetBen. Catch his work there at 590 The Fan. All right, first of all, dude, I got to find out about this. All right, I see this story, and it says Masai Ujiri might be leaving Toronto to go to the Knicks. Now, this has been rumored and talked about in the past. Why does this fester? What is Masai Ujiri smoking that he would leave Toronto? That is a great situation. Looks like a great ownership group. Phenomenal fan base. He's done an awesome job. Why would he want to join that clown in New York? Is there any truth to this? All right, we're having some technical issues with Ben, and we're trying to bring him back up again here on the phones. And after 4 hours on the air with a cold, I am completely running out of gas already at this point. I got to go back for another 24 hours of rest before I could get it back going here. We're trying to pull it up here, but unfortunately, it's.
I think we got him.
All right, Ben, are you there?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think I got you.
All right, now
I'll just
repeat your answer on is Masai smoking the good stuff, because I don't get it. I don't get it, bro.
Well, it's legal here, so he wouldn't be faulted for it. But
Okay,
no, man, like the stuff you would need to be smoking to sign up with James Dolan and the Knicks is probably not legal. Like, the legal stuff doesn't take you to another planet, which is where your brain would have to be to leave the Raptors and their ownership situation and their sturdiness and this fan base.
Thank you.
And everything surrounding the Toronto Raptors to leave for the Knicks. He's not going to do it. We've talked to people in New York, as I was saying to, I guess, myself. We talked to Frank Isola, who's pretty plugged in New York last week on our show, and we asked him the same thing. He's been all over the story. Yeah, it's a pipe dream. I mean, the only way I could see it happening is if the league steps in, if the NBA looks at the Knicks and says, this situation is so brutal, it's so dire, that we need to step in and stabilize one of our marquee franchises, and they kind of force it. But, I mean, imagine the look.
But you can't do that.
Raptors fans, if
but
they were, you
can't do that. You can't force Masai to leave Toronto. I mean, that would be disgusting if you would force somebody to do that. Toronto should have that guy forever, bro. That guy, you got to build a freaking statue for that guy outside that arena. That guy's one of the 3 best GMs on the planet, bro. On the planet.
Yeah, in the history of pro sports. I mean, and it goes. I mean, I like, where do you even start with this guy? Because he pulls off, of course, the Kawhi Leonard trade, which, I mean, it seems so obvious in retrospect, but at the time was kind of viewed with like a raised eyebrow, because you are giving up one of the franchise icons and DeMar DeRozan for a guy who seemingly didn't want to be here.
Right.
It ends up in a championship. They give up some of their future at the trade deadline, picking up Marc Gasol. They don't have a first-round pick this year. And you know what they do? They get a guy at Ole Miss in Terrence Davis who was going to be a second-round pick but wanted a guaranteed deal. They pick him up as an undrafted free agent, and all of a sudden he's turned himself into a 20-minute-a-night rotation piece. They basically just fabricated a first-round pick out of nowhere. That guy's the middle of the first round if they do that draft again like today, just a couple of months after it happened. There's just not enough superlatives you can attach to Masai Ujiri's name. He's a legend here. They will, like, it's not hyperbole to talk about him eventually being immortalized in statue form outside Scotiabank Arena at some time when it's all said and done. That's going to happen. I don't know like what the scenario would be where he would leave to go to the Knicks.
Look at Van Vliet, how he's developed. Siakam. I mean, this guy's freaking awesome, dude. This has to be some New York writer or two that are kind of fanboys and they're trying to keep this thing alive or something. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of.
I get it in a way, right? Of course. You know, does James Dolan, do the New York Knicks want Masai Ujiri? Like 1,000% yes? Of course. Of course they want Masai Ujiri. And so far, that's the only reporting we've seen, right, is that the Knicks will make a serious attempt to go get Masai Ujiri, which you assume means everything short of an ownership stake in the franchise. But that's what it would take, because nobody's going to outbid the Raptors ownership group, which is there's a single owner in Larry Tannenbaum, and then there's the two major telecommunication giants, Bell and Rogers, that are part of Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, which own the Raptors. There is no number too big for the Raptors to match for Masai Ujiri. The amount of money he made that ownership group with that playoff run, the amount of attention he's drawn to basketball in this city, which is still the secondary sport in Toronto, right? Like, it's a hockey town, we get that. But the amount of inroads that this Raptors team has made over the last 25 years, and specifically over the last one, that can't be quantified. Like,
and by the way, and the Raptors are way more relevant too than the Leafs, actually. So it's crazy, right? I mean, we know the Leafs will always dominate because it is what it is where you're at. But it's funny because the Raptors lately are the better organization by far. It's not even close. And you know, it's just, I admire what they've done from afar, because being here in Miami, we have watched what Riley has built here forever, and that's what they're doing in Toronto. They're building that kind of an organization. If Masai's, you know, if the rumor was, let's put it this way, Ben. If the rumor was, all right, Masai is leaving for the Clippers because he wants to work for that owner and Jerry West. Okay, I get it. Great organization, he's leaving. But the Lakers or the Knicks, are, as much as they have their marquee and their markets and all that, the ownership groups are disaster. There's dysfunction all over. It's like, why would you want that kind of headache? I get it if Masai was actually, you know, rumored for a good franchise that he wanted to leave. Fine, I get that. But the Knicks, dude, come on, bro.
Well, this is the way. I mean, this franchise has been viewed by just about everybody in NBA circles for the majority of its 25-year history, right? It's like Chris Bosh leaves, Vince Carter leaves, guys leave, right? It's not that people arrive, but we should actually be talking about the reverse in this case. It's like, not only is Masai Ujiri not going to leave to go to the Knicks, but the Knicks have a guy in R.J. Barrett, a rookie, their first-round pick, third overall, that is from the Toronto area, that is beloved in this country. He's going to represent Canada this summer in the last chance Olympic qualifying tournament. And when he's done his rookie deal in 6 years, like, that's what we should be. That's the more realistic scenario. Is not that the Raptors lose they're the most successful executive in the history of this franchise and maybe any other franchise in the history of North American professional sports, but that R.J. Barrett is sucking it up for the better part of a decade with that horrible organization, then eventually turns heel and comes home to the Raptors after they've won, you know, 3 championships in a row.
Yeah, and there are no franchise tags in the NBA. All right, so tonight, my brother, we got the 15-4 Raptors against the upstart and surprise 14-5 Miami Heat in your town. Your thoughts on this game tonight?
It's a great test for the Raptors. We talked about it today on my radio show that, man, a couple of the guys that were the most dangerous throughout the entire postseason for the Raptors last year left their teams. Malcolm Brogdon, who the Bucks decided not to bring back for money reasons only.
Right.
He's gone, goes to Indiana. And Jimmy Butler. Like, okay, so Joel Embiid is the MVP candidate, and yeah, Ben Simmons was the Rookie of the Year, and get that. Like, who was the heartbeat of that team? It was Jimmy freaking Butler. No one would dispute it. And going back before that, this Raptors team, before they were the elite team that they are now, had, like, I want to say a 20-plus game losing streak against the Chicago Bulls. And the Bulls weren't great shakes throughout a lot of that time, but Jimmy Butler was an absolute Raptor killer. So Raptors fans are going to be watching this game very much on the edge of their seat, waiting for Jimmy Butler to drop some big buckets. But this Raptors team, man, it's so weird for a team coming off a championship like they were to have expectations the way they were to start the season. But there's nobody, like even the most optimistic person in the world, optimistic Raptors fan, could have never anticipated what we've seen this season through 20 games or so, that Pascal Siakam looks like a legit top 10 player in the NBA. And they've done their best work the last 11 games without Kyle Lowry, who might be back tonight, but might not as well. He's dealing with a broken finger. They've done all of this without their second best player for the majority of the season. So really looking forward to a stiffer test than the Raptors have seen for the majority of the season. They had the 14th strongest strength of schedule so far this year. I mean, they handled the Jazz pretty easily, which is a good team in their last home game. But yeah, it'd be good to see some more tougher competition for this Raptors team.
And how about Van Vliet, man? I mean, that kid just took it up another notch and said, hey, I'm just going to prove to you guys that what you saw the last year was not a fluke. And that kid just stepped up big time this year.
He's such a wild case, because I know it feels like the entire playoffs were incredible for him. It was really just the last couple rounds, man. Like, he had his kid, he had, I think his third child was born in the middle of that Bucks series in the Eastern Conference Final, and he basically didn't miss from three in the final two rounds of the postseason. Before that, there were legitimate conversations as to whether he should still be in the rotation. In fact, in Game 6 against the Sixers, I want to say he played like 5 minutes. He was unplayable and then couldn't miss. And since then, I mean, Lowry goes out, and we're talking about a pending free agent in Fred VanVleet. I think he's shown everybody that he can be a starting point guard on like a good team, not just a playoff team, but one of the upper echelon teams in all of the NBA, because that's what he's done through the first 20 games of the season, and more than half of those games been the starting point guard for this team. And the offense hasn't been the calling card. Like, they have the best opponent field goal percentage in the NBA. It's been the defense. But the way he's continued to facilitate Pascal Siakam and kept the offense afloat, it's been wild. And I can't imagine what his price tag is going to be at the end of the season.
Well, they'll pay it, bro. They got to pay it, right? They'll keep him. He's not going anywhere, I would imagine.
No. They have to keep him. I mean, they have his bird rights. They're gonna keep him, especially considering. I mean, they've already one, the free agent class this upcoming offseason isn't great, and he might actually be at the top of the list. And two, Kyle Lowry's under contract. They signed him to a 1-year extension before the season started this year for $30+ million. It's a 1-year deal, though. The point guard situation for this team beyond next season is very much in flux. But I think Fred showed a lot of people that, you know what, you might not have to look outside of the organization. You might just have to lock this guy up long term, and he'll start with Kyle next year, and then maybe Kyle moves on someplace else, or he takes a pay cut, and he's the number one point guard for this team in 2021-22.
Ben Ennis, by the way, does his work there at the Fan 590 there in Toronto. You can follow him on Twitter at SportsNetBen. Ben, one other thing that I heard, the Spurs are stinking it out. They are having a terrible year. So now they're talking about maybe unloading DeRozan and Aldridge to other teams. And DeRozan, they actually rumored and threw in the name Toronto, possibly. Do you believe there's any shot that a reunion could happen?
Oh, man, I saw this report initially. I think it was Bleacher Report had it at first, and they quoted an unnamed Western Conference executive as talking about the price tag being one of Marc Gasol or Serge Ibaka and a first-round pick, which is, like, laugh out loud funny.
Yes.
And then, like, there's just no chance. I mentioned the Raptors. I mentioned they're number one in opponent field goal percentage, which I guess also plays into this. I mean, DeRozan's a one-way player, right?
Yep. No
there's
three-pointers.
Not a lot happening.
No three-pointers.
There's not a lot happening, defensively, and there's nothing happening beyond the arc. This Raptors team is number one three-point shooting team in the NBA. So, I mean, there's such a multitude of reasons why it wouldn't work out. And, the one that even goes beyond the numbers is, hey, he's still a beloved figure in franchise history, and every time the Spurs come to town, he gets a huge ovation. And again, maybe down the line, he has his number retired as well, but he returns to this Raptors team right now, and where does he fit? He's a bench piece, and like maybe not even a rotation guy. Are you going to do that to one of your franchise icons, is bring him back as like a kind of a make good to the fans? And that's what it would be for, right? Not to mention the price tag also, right? The guy's on a ginormous deal. But yeah, it would be a little nod to the fans, I suppose, but an embarrassing
you
way
trade
for him to return.
No, you trade for him, you screw yourself with Van Vliet. That's basically what it is, right? Because then you become this ridiculous tax team for no reason at all. Where I could see this happening, Ben, and you tell me if I'm wrong, is Twilight, the end of his career. Wherever he goes next, at the end of that run where he's got maybe a year or two left, he goes back to Toronto to like close out his career, come off the bench. Dwayne Wade-like, that kind of deal. I can see that happening. But right now, I laughed at that deal too. And also, you're not getting a first-rounder anymore for DeRozan.
No, there's
not
no
going to
chance.
happen anymore.
No, the situation you outlined, twilight of his career. He sees the end on the horizon. Maybe he's a role player returning to Toronto. Every time he comes off the bench, gives them a lift. There's no lofty expectations for him. That's actually the scenario that a lot of Raptors fans painted for Vince Carter returning to the Raptors. But yeah, he's not interested in that because he wants a bigger role. It's not like he has a huge one in Atlanta, but he doesn't want to have the tiniest of all bench roles with a team that has like title aspirations. But yeah, that's for sure. That's a more reasonable expectation for DeMar DeRozan return to the Raptors. It's not in the middle of the prime of their contention window, giving up assets to get a guy who's grossly overpaid and only an offensive player.
How's the development of OG gone this year?
He's been incredible. Now it started off really, really well, and then he twice this season he's been poked in the eye. Once by Kawhi Leonard to start his little injury woes on the road trip that they had. They went 3-2 in a 5-game Western road trip. That was the trip that they beat the Lakers and kind of opened a lot of people's eyes. But no pun intended, because OG keeps getting poked in the eye. But no, he was a guy. Man, we were having legitimate conversations about him and Pascal 2 years ago as to who was the more interesting prospect.
That's right.
Who was the guy that was going to be the real, high ceiling guy that you could dream on? And I, for the life of me, thought it was going to be OG. Now, last year he was totally thrown off his developmental curve because he had some family tragedy, lost his father, and then he had the appendix removed and he didn't play in the postseason. And now all of a sudden he's taken Kawhi's starting spot, and he's been incredible. He's always hit threes. He has kind of an unorthodox shooting stroke, but he's always been really consistent hitting the threes. He's added a little bit of a tighter handle, and the decision making is so much better this year. But the thing that I think is the most the thing that you can project the most with him, and it was the reason why him and Siakam were tied together, is the defense, the switchability on defense. OG and Pascal, like those two, and then Marc Gasol still having the court awareness to protect the rim. Those two specifically, though, Siakam and Anunoby, the defense they have guarding multiple positions are the big reason why the Raptors are number one in opponent's field goal percentage.
It's going to be a lot of fun tonight. Both teams can shoot. Both teams can play some defense. Both teams are solid, great organizations. Should be a lot of fun tonight in Toronto at 7:30 when they tip it off between the Heat and the Raptors. Ben Ennis does his deal at 590 The Fan. You can catch him there. Follow him on Twitter at SportsNetBen. Ben, thank you for taking some time, my man. We really appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. Good to talk to you.
Good stuff, baby. Be good. There you go. Ben Ennis, man. Good stuff. Appreciate him joining us here on the program to get a little preview.
That was immense effort, considering the international calling situation and everything. And
yeah, it was our first international interview, or second.
No, because remember Martin from the UK.
Oh, they were here.
They were here. He had the 561 area code number, T-Mobile.
Yep. Robert's asking me, Big O, what do you think the Dolphins' final record will be? Robert, I think they'll win 2 more games. Cincinnati and the Giants. I really do. I'd love for them to win this weekend against the Jets. That would be fantastic.
To sweep them?
Yeah.
That would
be great. That'd be so good. So good. I think they're going to get us this week. I mean, they got – do you realize how much more talent the Jets have over Miami? I mean, really, honestly, Miami has no business beating the Jets at all.
It's amazing the difference that a real coach can do, man.
Coaching, dude.
Yep.
Coaching. Okay, Rico says the last number 1 QB pick in the draft to take his team to the Super Bowl was Cam Newton. Yes, sir. Last, number 1 pick to win the Super Bowl was Eli Manning in 2004. Yeah, none of it is guaranteed, man. Patricia, always listening. Thank you, Patricia. Tannehill is 4-1 with Titans. Do you believe he can carry them to the playoffs? No, I don't. Mona says, Big O, where do you see the Miami Heat in your power rankings? They've improved, but need a quality win against a good team. Well, they have 2 quality wins in Milwaukee and Houston. Those are quality wins overall. Right now in their, here's my problem with, it's a great question you asked, Mona, where I put the Heat in the power rankings, right? I don't know if I'm ready yet to put them in power rankings because I need to see more. I have to see more against good teams. And remember, we talked about this 3-game stretch. They beat the Nets, a playoff team. Now you play the Raptors tonight and the Celtics tomorrow. I want to see how you do. Give me a couple more weeks to see where they're at. But right now, if you want to, gun ahead, I got Milwaukee in front of them. I got Toronto in front of them. Even though they're tied with Boston, I think Boston's better. I think Philly's better. I think they're right there with the Pacers and the Nets after that. In other words, they're battling for the 5th spot. Okay?
These 3 teams were all fighting for a home in the first round of the playoffs.
Yes.
So top 4. So you're talking 1 through 4 because Philly is in there.
Nets are in the back half. Next year,
you think
yes.
So?
Yeah, next year, yes.
Oh, well, that's, you know what? They're
when they
missing
get Durant,
a main
and right now,
cog.
and Kyrie has been in and out of the lineup. You know what I mean? So I think they're a 5 to 8 seed right now.
But the other
they're
ones,
a playoff team. They were a playoff team without Kyrie.
So you're looking at Toronto, Boston, and Philly, and Milwaukee, obviously, being the 1 through 4.
Yeah, Milwaukee's won like 100 games in a row, right?
We're
12.
Yeah,
won 12 games in a row.
We're trying to sandwich.
Toronto, by the way, has won 7 games in a row tonight.
Oh, they've been playing good ball.
Okay, the top 2 teams, Milwaukee's won 12, Toronto's won 7, and then the Heat are in 3rd place, and they've won 2 in a row. So
okay, considering
hopefully it'll be 3 in a row and they snap the Raptors, 7-game winning streak. That would be fantastic.
So realistically, obviously, and this is a team that has
5 right now,
massive playoff experience, having won a finals. Okay,
who's that? Who are we talking about?
Toronto.
Oh yeah.
That tonight's going to be tough. If we win this game, this is tough. Major.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
This is major.
Yes.
This wedge is right up underneath the Milwaukee on the road and the Houston.
It's better than Houston.
Well, yeah, because Houston doesn't play defense.
There you go. You read my mind. With Houston, all you got to do is outscore them and play some D and get a couple stops, and you're all right. Now, you got to score.
Make your open baskets. Make your open baskets.
Now, you got to
beat
score.
Houston, yes.
You got to score.
Hit your open
Miami
shots.
has enough shooters now that they can score. But I would be more impressed with beating Toronto on the road than Houston.
So this is huge for us tonight.
Well, you just heard Ben, and he made a great point. They just handled Utah.
Wow.
Utah's not easy, bro.
No, man.
They can play D.
They bring it every night.
They play D.
Yep.
Gobert is, one of the best rim protectors that there is in the league. So they're good. Still got a little bit of a voice left. Let's see. What else do we have here? Patricia follows up. The reason why I said that watching them against the Lakers, Philly, and Denver, top teams, they got blown out. Yeah. No, you're right, Patricia. You're right about that. I see what you're saying now. And that's why I need to see more from them. But let's be honest now, Patricia. They're supposed to lose to those teams. They're not better than Utah, and they're not better than the Lakers. And who was it? Oh, Denver. They're not better than those kind of teams. They should not.
Denver in Denver is.
Well, they lose to Denver in Denver, no matter who's in Denver.
No, but I'm saying Denver here. We can beat Denver here.
A shot, but Denver's a hell of a team, dude.
I'm not taking
they
anything
were a top
away.
3 seed in the West last year. I'm pretty sure. Let me see. I'll tell you right now. I'll look it up. Oh man, they don't have the. I thought they had the thing where you had the other years that you can go to. Oh, they don't have it here. But I want to say they were like a top 3 seed last year. Denver's a hell of a team, man. Miami's not better than Denver. Do they have a shot to beat them? Of course. They have a shot to beat anybody, but we can't get ahead of ourselves, okay? Now that the Heat have overachieved and they're playing better than most of us expected, we can't sit there now and say, well, we expect them to be this, this, and this. They've overachieved. Like, they're not supposed to win tonight. If you base it on talent and experience, they're not supposed to win tonight. If they win tonight, that's one hell of a victory. And then you go play a team that has more talent than you on the road, back-to-back night in Boston, you should lose that one too. Because you don't have better talent than them. So we're kind of in that rut that we really don't know what the Heat are yet. But we're kind of getting that feel.
We should feel better than the fake 31-10 team.
Oh yeah,
this is legit.
There's no fake
here. This is legit.
Yeah. There's no fake here.
It's just obviously our youth,
right?
And being a new team,
right?
Like these things are going to come into play against the better the upper echelon teams that have been in the playoffs that have experience.
Yes,
and we just got to see how it all shakes out.
Yep, that's it. That's what it be, B. All right, let's wrap it up here on the show. We thank David Dwork. We thank Manny Navarro. Manny Navarro's driving up in the Northeast and still chiming in and great info,
They're
too.
still not dealing with the blizzard. I mean, think about it. He was in Connecticut. Dude, they were dealing with a whole bunch of snow.
Is it still going on?
I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking about us having cold. I'm all excited about that, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really care what everybody else. We have winter here.
Yeah. Wrong day for the cold for the next couple of days. I don't need it right now. Ryan Dunleavy, of course, from the New York Post for joining us. Andre Fernandez from The Athletic, and Ben Ennis from 590 The Fan. Plenty of sports talk for you, even though I don't have a voice. But you know what? We're troopers, baby. We're going to grind all the way to the end. To the end of my voice.
Hey. We need some of that for tomorrow, man. Save it, brother.
I won't say more than 10 words for the rest of the day.
Take it easy, man.
All right, you guys be good out there. Thank you for always supporting us. Much love out there. Be safe. Thank you, Bill. Excellent work by you, sir, as always.
Thank you all.
And John Cassio, excellent work by you, sir.